Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Look pretty
Good test. Good test. Good test.
I have the hiccups. I'm dying.
We look good,
Cool.
and
Do we sound good? Is the real question.
we sound fantastic.
Love to hear it.
We sound incredible. The best we've ever sounded. Man, what a show we're about to have. I don't know why I say that sarcastically. We're about to have a good show.
Yeah, you're praying on their downfall. We
I don't
haven't
know.
even started yet.
Yeah, no, I mean
just bad mindset.
Did the camera do something that it's
But
never
that was
done?
before the show.
True. We're ready to
What a week!
start the show. You ready to start?
I'm just ready for Thursday at this point.
Yeah, this
man.
is just a little precursor here.
Literally.
A little precursor.
Ugh, I'm so locked.
What is up, team? And welcome back to another episode of the Technical Foul Podcast. You're joined by the three of us today. It is Monday evening, almost 9 o'clock, just about 9 o'clock. Hawks-Knicks is on the left screen. We're about to talk NBA playoffs. Sanders is going to give us a nice little, I have the hiccups, Mississippi State weekly recap. And then we'll talk a little bit, of our final draft thoughts, as well as talk about the Dexter Lawrence trade, and then get out of here. Because as we kind of said before the podcast started, like literally seconds before, this is kind of the precursor episode of the week, the little appetizer episode of the week before our live draft show on Thursday night. Holy cow, hiccups are the worst. Sanders, JP, how we doing today?
Gonna have to get over those hiccups by Thursday.
Oh, dude, I hope so.
I wonder what the longest case of hiccups recorded
Years.
is.
Years and years and years.
Let me ask Google Gemini.
While you do that,
I think I read in like a
go
children's
ahead.
almanac this could just be the biggest lie ever, but like he hurt himself picking up a hog or something like that, and it damaged the hiccup controlling part of his brain. So he just had the hiccups for a long, long time.
And that's crazy because I was always told growing up that only one person in the world has hiccups at a time.
Oh, well.
So
I
clearly
think
not.
you were lied to, unfortunately.
Well, that would be, according to Google Gemini, that's impossible.
Okay.
The longest recorded attack of hiccups lasted for 68 years, held by Charles Osborne, who hiccuped from 1922 to 1990, starting when he was 29. The spasms continued at a rate of 20 to 40 times per minute until he was 96.
That's not. That's. Yeah, I mean, I'm hiccuping like twice a minute. 20 to 40 times per minute is diabolical.
I wonder how he ate food.
Slurped it, probably.
Veteran of our Navy,
Interesting.
Thank you for your service.
Charles Osborne.
Good thing he didn't do any, I'd imagine, like covert operations, because like he's trying to sneak around and just like hiccuping like crazy.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Probably no diplomatic stuff either.
You can send him to the country where hiccups is a complement of cooking or something.
Yeah, or maybe they just communicate via hiccups. It's like his own language. How you doing, Sanders?
I'm doing great. Spent the weekend on a bachelor trip, which unfortunately the apartment next to the Airbnb that we had reeked of weed. And so I spent the last 24 hours trying to just get all my clothes and my pillow and my car to not smell like weed anymore. And I think I've got that done. So we're back to clean, which is nice.
That is big.
I did not I got in my car last night or this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I can still smell just a hint of it. This is not great. So I left the windows open for about 8 hours today. So that's all great. Went to Topgolf. JP, I hit 200 yards at Topgolf.
With what club?
Driver. Okay.
That's big.
You have to remember, 0 formal training, and
not
that
bad.
was my 4th time ever swinging a golf club.
If you only put that context on it, it's not bad. But in the grand scheme of things,
I'm very aware that in the grand scheme of things, it's awful.
multiple years to go.
I'm aware of the grand scheme of things, but I was pretty proud. I was the farthest hitting out of any of us.
Sure.
I took some wedge shots off the ground, no tee, and I got some nice loft on those, which was pretty fun. I took a couple of irons and got some really solid contact that was pretty fun. So we had a good time. I had a great time with it. And it made me want to. I think my brother was actually at the driving range this afternoon, and I was like, "Dang, like I kind of want to pick up golf. Maybe in Jackson. Maybe when I'm in Jackson.
Maybe."
But that was this
Trying to
weekend
decide if I want to advise you to pick up golf or not.
because it's expensive and time consuming, or because
No, that actually has zero factor on it.
is it because you hear
frustrating?
200?
No, because frustration.
That's fair. I I think I can handle frustration.
I always tell people it is the sport where the better you get at it, the more you hate it. Because as you improve and improve, for to use an analogy across to a different sport, as you start seeing yourself hit more threes, you expect to make more threes.
Yep.
As you're hitting, more and more shots, and then you see yourself hit like a PGA Tour level shot, then you expect that to be reoccurring. And the problem is, physics says that's pretty hard to do because just think about it. You're hitting a plastic ball with a metal face.
Yeah. But I
swinging
already
it
get
at
that with
100
angle ball.
miles per hour.
Like, I already get that with angle ball. To where I get frustrated when I play bad because I know that I should hit shot X or shot Y. I know I should because I've done it before.
The great thing about angle ball, though, and like the difference is it's fast paced enough. Like you're just on to the next. You're on to the next opportunity to fix it.
But
I miss
maybe
a shot,
I need some
boom,
patience,
go get on
some lessons on
defense
patience in my life.
and go get it. I see what you're saying because it's like if I went out there and golfed tomorrow, I would have no expectation but to suck. And so when I hit a shot that's horrible,
You laugh.
oh well, what else is gonna happen? I've played some disc golf,
But
with,
when you hit one that's like 200 yards, which isn't good, but you're like, oh, I just hit 200 yards. That was really
yeah,
cool.
it feels good, but there's still no realistic expectation doing that. But I mean, I've played disc golf these past couple weeks with listener Mott. Not quite the same thing, but I've never played before. I can't throw a frisbee, so like, yeah, when I try and drive it and I yank it way to the left, it goes into the water. LOL, exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
And then, so that was my weekend, and then watched some basketball, watched some Mississippi State baseball over the weekend, and then tonight I umped the last softball game for our athletic department at State, where we let our interns play on news park. I forget what the field
I
is
think it's
called.
Park, yeah.
I don't know if the field has a name.
I do not know. I know it's News Park.
But I was the home plate umpire, and some friends of mine made me a sign. So
That's nice.
I've got pretty thick skin, thankfully.
That's funny.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Did you show that to the camera?
Yeah,
See
to
it?
the camera.
Okay.
Umps suck for our audio listeners in very large Sharpie letters on a piece of paper.
Great
yeah,
penmanship. That's
Yeah,
a
they-
clean
It
it
is,
was,
honestly.
It was a couple people up in the press box who were there too. Okay, in their defense, I was the home plate umpire for games 1 and 2 tonight. I've never been the home plate umpire. I've done it for summer league softball, but it's just not the same. When we do our, we call them interdepartmental games or external games, we are serious. We keep stats, we put graphics on the video board.
Oh, that's cool.
We do we announce the next at batter. We've got walk up songs. We have substitutions that are the same as actual softball rules. It's a very intense legalistic liturgical game.
Interesting.
And so I've never had to deal with all that before. When I did summer league, it was just all right, next up, you're in charge of your own batting orders. I had to copy the batting orders. I had to keep track of substitutions, re-entries. And so I just missed a bunch of stuff. And we spent about 15 minutes in the 5th inning trying to get everything sorted back out, just standing there trying to figure out who was batting where and doing what. And, I kind of botched the first game. But game 2, I locked in. And
Good stuff.
But the first game, they kept just being umps suck. And I was I'm trying. I've never done this before. Yeah, I felt so bad. But game 2, we locked in, and the umps had a great game. My friends, Fan X is what I was an intern in.
Did not show up?
They went 0-2. No.
Brutal.
Yes, they went 0-2. We did 3. It was 3 teams, so we did round robin. Every team plays each other once, and then the team who had the 2 best records played each other. And my team, my friends, lost both games.
Hurts. How
I
have you
can
been?
only imagine that if I'd been there, it would have been different.
Yeah,
Not
you're just
actually.
retired now, so.
Yeah.
I've been good. Let me bring back the thought I had at the top of the show, which was when you were saying it is 9 p.m. where we're at. People on the East Coast say live on the East Coast, live from the West Coast. Well,
Josh Pate says live from a stormy Nashville, Tennessee, or
yeah.
wherever.
Would we say live from the Mississippi coast?
We could say live.
If we were on the west side next to the Mississippi River, could we say live from the Mississippi coast?
No, because that would imply you are on the Mississippi coast, because Mississippi does have a coast.
Well, the people that say it on the East Coast aren't necessarily on the
Live
East
from
Coast.
this is
yeah, but the East Coast is actually a region. It's known as the East Coast.
We gotta start bringing in the South Coast then.
The live from the South Coast. live from the coast of the Gulf of the United of America.
If we weren't like a college town, if we were in some random town, I would say live from historic downtown
Sure.
Houston.
Well, you can say
Mississippi.
live from historic downtown Starkville.
Live from Oktok.
It is live from Odd Talk, maybe. I'm doing good. ESPN, by the way, has a draft simulator,
Oh.
Really?
and I just ran one, and it uses analytics to like determine where guys should be picked and whatnot. Actually,
Interesting.
does pretty good. So
Interesting.
it might be something fun to play with. I just did the Saints.
Sure.
Did the first 3 rounds. I got Caleb Downs at 8. Gabe Akas from Illinois. In the second round, I got Elijah Surratt. So I'm happy with my draft personally.
Sure.
But that is what the bulk of my work has been so far today. I finished 10 more players, so I'm up to like 45 players
Huge.
for the first round. Sadly, like today, a lot of the fun facts have been sad fun facts, and it's not just like sad fun facts in terms of, oh, a family member passed away.
Sure.
It is like this kid did something dumb, like Christian Miller, defensive tackle, Georgia. Any guesses on what he did?
Speeding.
Yes. I laughed when I read
Sanders,
it.
you're such a seer.
Yeah.
How could you ever guess that?
Yeah, Miller said in his NFL Combine interview, he had some growing up to do at UGA after living a little too fast, where he got a super speeder going 30 miles over the speed limit.
Well, you know, else who's been caught going really fast and really egregiously over the speed limit? Miles
Who?
Garrett.
Really?
So maybe draft him.
His career's over.
Direct correlation between speeding and
Yeah.
being one of the best edge rushers of all time.
I don't know. We need to crunch the numbers. I need a bigger data set than just a couple players.
Yeah.
Another sad one, Zion Young. He failed every single one of his freshman classes in high school, which, my goodness. I mean, some people struggle with school, but how do you fail every single freshman class in high school?
Yeah, because also like you probably have like a health and PE class or like something like that. That's a pretty tough one.
That kept him from playing football his sophomore year of high school, and he
Yeah,
had to take
sure.
like a medical redshirt. A cool one, though, Caleb Lomo, offensive tackle, Utah.
Yep.
He's a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, LDS.
Interesting.
Did not get offered from BYU,
Wow.
and so went to Utah.
That's crazy.
So BYU sold is what I'm hearing.
Essentially, yes.
That's crazy.
Those were some of the cool fun facts that I had today.
Yeah, don't go through. We don't want to spoil too many,
Yeah,
for the
there's some
Thursday
that I
show.
gotta save. There's definitely some cool ones. I'll mention this last one. Colton Hood, cornerback, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Had a pick 6 in Starkville last year off Blake Shapen. If for the state viewers,
Is that the game where Shapen got hurt? 'Cause
it was against Tennessee, their whiteout game.
excuse me. So like this year, not
This
last
year. Yeah, this past year.
Sorry,
2025.
I was thinking like 2 years ago was last
Sure.
year. But
Yeah, Shapen got hit at the line and threw way behind his receiver, and Colton Hood
Yep.
had a pick 6. We were leading 7-3 at the time. It then became 10-7 Tennessee.
Yep.
But that's been the bulk of where my work has been today. Is
Sure.
figuring that out.
I spent today getting graphics or headshots for 100 players in, so we should be good unless somebody outside the top 100 goes in the first round.
Bill Belichick's no longer in charge of a draft room, so we
Yeah.
should be fine.
Yep. I saw a clip of Sean McVay watching that draft, and when Bill Belichick, they took the guy from Chattanooga or wherever.
The offensive
Cole
line,
Strange.
yeah,
Cole Strange.
they just laugh.
Yeah, he said, "Man, we wasted our time watching him. We thought he was gonna be there at 104." But
Diabolical.
yeah, it's pretty funny. Do we want to get started on the show and the Mississippi State update?
Well, I'm doing pretty good.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sorry, Jack.
Good weekend. NBA playoffs are here. I got to watch Wimby cook last night, dropped 35, and then it was announced today he won the Defensive Player of the Year unanimously, which he's the first player ever to do that, and also is now the youngest player to ever win the award. So I'm doing pretty great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can get into the show, and you'll kick us off, Sanders, with the Mississippi State recap.
Mississippi State update. Nothing has happened in men's or women's basketball. No transfers in, no transfers out. As of 9:09
that's
p.m.
just a scam. Guy Troll transferring out.
Excuse me.
Come on now.
Did we not already know that? We already knew that. Okay, maybe we didn't already know that. Maybe it was suspected.
Guy Troll's been here, what, all of Jan's tenure?
It's been a while. Yeah.
I think
Is
his
he-
first recruiting class.
Is he well, I guess, like, now that he's leaving, but, like, this past season, he was the third longest tenured player.
Behind
Second
Sean
tied.
Jones.
Sean Jones, the only one that was longer, maybe.
He might have been here before Hubbard.
He was in Hubbard's class.
Yeah.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He was like the first recruiting class after Jans had been here for a year.
okay.
What rated type recruit was Guy Troll?
I think he was a 3-star.
Okay.
I can't remember. But that is your men's basketball news. Women's basketball has added no new transfers. And nobody entered the portal. Portal closed today, so I'm not. It's done. That's done with people entering. Baseball went 4-0 in a much-needed week. All 4 games away from Duty Noble Field, on the road at Sanford, got that win in a run rule, I believe, and then went to South Carolina and swept South Carolina. A couple of headlines from that weekend: Blake Bevis or Beavis, I'm not sure which it is, stepped up. Reed Stallman missed all of Saturday and the majority of Sunday with soreness. Blake Bevis
Wawa.
/ Beavis goes 4 for 7 with 2 home runs. So that was kind of electric. He really stepped up where Reed Stallman had been a little bit colder lately in conference play. Had some good outings in the midweeks, but just hadn't been able to get much done in conference play. So now with interesting competition there and interesting to watch what O'Connor does at first base. Ace Reese homered in Friday and Saturday, and then Duke Stone set his season high in innings pitched and strikeouts. So really good weekend from some players.
He won co-SEC Pitcher of the Week.
He did win co-SEC Pitcher of the Week. Thank you. I forgot about that. Did not have that in my notes. We're now ranked 15th according to D1 softball. So we have LSU at home this weekend, Super Bulldog weekend, and then we still have to go to Texas. We still have to go to Texas A&M, and we host. I can't remember the last team we host. I believe Auburn. We host Auburn.
That's a tough stretch.
It is a very tough stretch.
Makes the LSU weekend pretty big just because you get it at home, but also they're just really scuffling right now. I mean, they're coming off getting swept at home against A&M, and it's not just they're playing bad right now, but like hearing Jay Johnson talk about the team in pressers, like it's pretty clear that he just doesn't even think they're very good. So
Yeah.
it's an opportunity Mississippi State needs to take advantage of it the next week. Continue
Yeah.
building momentum.
A sweep would be huge. I believe a sweep puts us like back in like a conversation for if you finish out really, really well, you could, be a national seed. But it's also just huge to feel really good about us hosting that first weekend in June, which would be great, having not done that since 2021.
Also just huge for the fans that have
Yeah.
sat through two, back-to-back weekends of getting swept at home, like coming back and making that statement against LSU Super Bulldog weekend. Like, that's the ultimate getting the vibes back on track
Yeah.
weekend right there.
Especially against a national champion, defending national champion rival. Mississippi State Twitter fans would love to be able to rub that in LSU's face, and LSU fans would just say 7 national championships, and that'd be the end of it. But Twitter would be glorious if we could pull that off. Softball goes 0-3. Shout out Jack and your A&M Aggies.
Dig 'em.
Close games. I forget which games were close, but there were a couple close games in there, including the Sunday game where we go up 6-0 in the first, and y'all tied it in the second.
We scored 9 in the second.
Excuse me. Yes,
So we
y'all.
took the
So we
lead.
scored 6 in the top of the first. Y'all scored 9 in the bottom of the second, and then we scored 3 runs in the seventh to make it a finals. And then y'all had one more run.
Yeah, it was like
sprinkled in there.
10-9.
It was final score was 10-9, I believe. So just a high scoring game, a shootout, but we fall short there. In bracketology, we are currently the 2 seed in the number 13 regional. I think it's Florida State, but I looked at that like 8 hours ago, so I could have forgotten. But we're the 2 seed in number 13 regional, and LSU right now is the 11 seed. They're hosting. And so it would be huge if we could beat them this weekend because softball is also in the conversation to try and host a regional. Currently, they're ranked number 21. I think the metrics might favor us a little bit more than that, but that will, once again, beating LSU. It's kind of crazy we're hosting LSU in baseball and softball same weekend, but a win in softball would also be huge.
Fantastic weekend.
Men's tennis, this is something we all get behind, lost to Texas in the SEC championship. So that was tough. Hated to see that. And then women's tennis went 0-1, lost to Alabama in the first round of the SEC tournament. Men's tennis will host the beginning of the NCAA tournament, and then women's tennis I don't know their status on making it. At one point a couple weeks ago, I was told they needed to win X amount of games, and I think they won that number of games. I just am not positive what that mark was,
Sure.
or how confident they would get in if they reach that goal. So stay tuned to see if the women's tennis team will make the postseason. And that is your Mississippi State update as far as I know. That's all I can think about.
Good stuff. Yeah. Cool.
And now, do we want to do NBA or NFL draft?
Let's do the NBA games.
All right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, and I forgot to make a generic graphic, so I'll just make
We
that.
don't have to do that then.
Okay, well then let's just do the 5
We'll
games.
just talk about it briefly, but there's no reason it needs to be like posted as a separate segment.
Okay.
So just real quick, we'll start then with the dud games, I guess, in terms of like OKC Suns. OKC blew out the Suns. SGA did his thing. Chet was really good. The Suns just really have no chance there. I don't really feel like, like some of these games I'm gonna be like, do y'all like have any have y'all's minds changed after game 1, or like, what needs to change in the series for X team to make it competitive? I don't think Philly need, what does Phoenix need to do to be competitive in the OKC series? Get a new roster?
I mean, they're gonna have to shoot better.
Yeah, that's a good
I'll tell
place
you that
to
much.
start.
I think Dylan Brooks needs to
Shut up.
A little bit of that. He needs to, and I'm not asking him to do this because I've already seen him do it. He broke Gary Payton's elbow after all, but maybe he should hard foul someone important to the Thunder if they want to have a chance.
Sure. It is crazy, like, he's just going to keep talking, and it's never worked. Like, even back to, when the Lakers beat him, and, like, the fallout of him at Memphis, and, like, the Rockets last year don't get out of the first round, and now he's here again. It's not a great look for him. Other not close games, or games I don't think there's, like, tons of storylines about. Boston killed Philly, and it just is basically confirmed that Joel Embiid is not going to come back for this series, which Philly shot horribly in the game, so I will say, like, I do still think there's a world where Philly takes a game or two, but just Philly just doesn't have the juice to stay competitive in that series. Jason Tatum is continuing to look better and better as he gets further and further removed from the Achilles injury, so I think they're going to be cruising into round 2, which just isn't. I mean, that's not surprising at all.
Yeah, it makes it a priority for the Knicks to handle the Hawks quickly so that they don't have to, quickly turn around and play the Celtics, with the Celtics having the rest.
It's a great point. And then the other one I didn't really have any desire to talk about. I don't think it's going to be much of a series. It's just Toronto-Cleveland. Which is interesting because it's a 4-5 matchup, right? So you think, oh, like that should potentially be one talked about, one that could be an intriguing series. The more and more I think about this Toronto team, and the more and more I watch this Toronto team, the more and more I'm just very ready for their season to be over and have to no longer be watching them. Because you have Scotty Barnes, who's very good, and then around Scotty Barnes, it's a lot of overpaid players. They're already down 2-0 in their series. They played earlier today. And, like, Brandon Ingram, I think, in the game had, like, 7 points and 5 turnovers or something like that.
Correct, on both.
And he's making, like, $40 million. Jakob Poeltl, I don't know what he finished at minute-wise in the game, but he had, like, 3 points. He's getting paid $28 million or something like that next season.
9 minutes, 2 points.
Yeah, like, he's already, like, basically getting soft-benched in a playoff series and in a contract for multiple years. So it's just, like, there's just nothing exciting there from a standpoint of, like, them making noise in the series and also, like, them going forward. Because they've already spent all their money. So
yeah, if there's anything like I've taken a little bit of note from, and I'm curious to see how it'll progress as the Cavs progress to the next round against whoever they play, which it could be anyone at this point. Donovan Mitchell is almost like exclusively taking the shots in the last 5 minutes, which is I'm completely fine with.
Sure,
but it is like James Harden is literally he has just stood over there on the wing, and there have been times Mitchell had to pick up his dribble, swung it to Harden, and then Harden just swung it right back to him, and then Mitchell went. So that's just something to look at. Like it seems like they're fully reliant on Donovan Mitchell for any kind of clutch game shots.
Yeah, and I think it's probably the way it should be. I'm fine with it, but it is a good thing to note because also, like, it's a lot easier to do that when you're playing the Raptors, and James Harden is a lot more fine to do that when it's working. But, like, if they get into a series against, like, Boston or even like Detroit or some team down the line, and like Donovan Mitchell was struggling a little easier. Does James Harden like be like, okay, now it's my turn to cook? Like, yeah, how does that play out? It's a good point. But those are kind of the three series we are not going to talk about in any sort of depth. So with that being said, we can go ahead and pull up the first graphic, Sanders.
Do you want it to be? Excuse me. Do you want this game first?
Yeah, that's fine. Excuse me. The Knicks a couple days ago took the 1-0 series lead against the Hawks, and currently they're actually playing as this segment is going on Game 2, and the Knicks are up 8 with 9.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So kind of a wacky time to do this segment and cover this series.
We'll just record two videos. One, pretending the Hawks win, and one pretending the Knicks win.
Yeah.
Or we can talk for 35 minutes about this one series, and this game will be over.
No, we can just kind of focus more on what we saw from Game 1 and what potentially would need to change for the Hawks to win this series, or what we saw from the Knicks that we liked and stuff like that. And I'll just start from the jump from the Hawks standpoint. The bench just isn't good enough, in my opinion, for them to win this series, but also like going forward from the standpoint of like the bench had 13 total points in Game 1. Ricochet only played 2 minutes, and in those 2 minutes he missed a layup, got the offensive rebound, and missed the putback layup, and then basically got benched right after that. Mo Gay played off the bench. Jonathan Kuminga played off the bench. Gabe Vincent. Those are the four guys off the bench. They've already adjusted a little bit in Game 2. Tony Bradley's played some minutes. Corey Kispert has played some minutes, so they're already trying to fix that. But I just don't think that the bench has any sort of punch on it. And then that combined with the fact that we've seen some struggles from Na, for example, in terms of efficiency. I mean, he was phenomenal down the stretch of the regular season, but they needed him to continue that into this series to potentially win. I think he finished with 17 in Game 1 and wasn't the most efficient. Let me see what he has in this game. Because at one point he had like 7 on inefficient. He has 6 points right now, 18% shooting, 2 of 11 from the field. Like, that's just not going to cut it trying to beat this Knicks team when he's kind of was the riser and was the best player down the stretch and the reason for the Hawks' renaissance. But any thoughts on any of that?
I think the
or
biggest
other
thing
things?
I've seen from the Hawks has just been the slow starts to both the halves.
Sure.
They've lost the first and third quarter, and now each of the 2 games, each quarter they've lost by 5 or more points, first and third. So start of halves, the beginning of the game and the start of the second half, they've just been so slow. For the second and fourth quarters, now through 2 games, they're as of this moment, they're plus 8 points.
Yeah.
That's what's pushing them behind.
Sure.
And so that is almost like a complete opposite of what your point in terms of the bench scoring. It has just been their starters in the first few minutes of each half. I do agree though that the bench is going to have to be better. Kuminga's going to have to score more, but like the bench in Game 1 was just Mo Gay was in just a foul.
Yeah.
He Hacker Robinson 3 times. Gabe Vincent was there just to handle the ball and try to run some offense. And Ricochet, he didn't get the 5 minutes in the game, so
I'm
he's
curious if he's played tonight or not.
I'd be surprised if he did. Which, what a shame for the Hawks.
He has not played.
They missed on the pick. Like, they could have taken Alex Sarr, and Alex Sarr's looked better to this point, but also the fact that, they're sandwiched in between a Wemby and Cooper Flag draft. That
Not
kinda
great.
sucks.
Yeah, it does hurt a little
for
bit.
the number 1 overall pick. I do think once this series gets to Atlanta, I expect them to play
That's a good point.
better. I do expect them to take at least 1 game in Atlanta. But they are going to have to start halves better if they're going to be in a better spot, because it's just so much harder. Now, you can see 10-point leads, 15-point leads erased just like that, but it takes full execution for a 3-minute stretch, defensively and offensively. And so if you keep putting yourself behind the 8 ball by 8 points, 10 points, you force yourself to continue to have to climb back throughout the game, and that's just not easy to do. So they're just going to have to do better at not putting themselves behind the 8 ball.
I think it's a good point, which in Game 1 it was tough because Jalen Brunson comes out and has 15 of the Knicks' first 22 points and doesn't miss in that stretch, like just hits everything. And so it's kind of like the Hawks actually came out and played some pretty good offense of their own, but Jalen Brunson was just on an absolute heater and couldn't be stopped. And just overall, like looking at the starting five comparison between the teams, it's just an overwhelming edge and talent on the Knicks side. And so, like, yeah, when you come out of the gate and it's Brunson, Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Cat against Jalen Johnson, Dyson, Okongwu, like there's just a clear edge there. So they're very much fighting an uphill battle to start quarters 1 and 3 better because of that discrepancy.
I really liked what I've seen from Jordan Clarkson so far. He had 8 points in the first game. He's got 7 right now. He's also kind of playing some of the fourth quarter minutes too, the first like 5 or 6 minutes in both games in the fourth quarter. And he's just been a little bit of a bench scoring spark plug, which they haven't had from like a guard perspective in the postseason really ever. Like Jose Alvarado was a defensive guy. Last year, DeLon Wright, defensive guy. Landry Shamet played some minutes, but Shamet's just there to shoot. He can't actually create his own bucket. I think that might be kind of a key piece for the Knicks going forward is Clarkson and his ability to get his own basket and score.
Yeah.
And some different stretches with different lineups. So I've liked what I've seen from him so far, and I do like the depth usage so far as well. I think this Knicks team, while it feels like it doesn't feel like anyone's going to pick them to beat the Celtics, besides maybe me again.
We're going to find out.
But I do think this team is
better.
better.
That's true. You have them making the finals this year.
Some people have them in the finals too. I do think this team is better overall than it was last year.
Sure.
Just because of their ability to bring some depth onto the court. And because of that, maybe they were right in letting Thibodeau go even after a conference finals appearance.
Sure. And last thing I really want to say is we talked about the Hawks bench. Kuminga does have 17 in this game too. So talk about like needing some more scoring from him. He has brought that in game 2, and they're going to need more of that going forward. It is just scary because the classic Kuminga is like he'll give you one 20 piece or something every series, but kind of disappear outside of that. So we'll see.
The thing I'm watching is like how close do the Hawks keep it? Do they keep it close and lose 4-0, or do they make games close and lose win a couple, like win 2 in Atlanta, and then it's a 6-game series, and then they steal one in New York into the 7-game, right? Because they'd have to, or I guess no, they could win 3 at home.
They're gonna have to win 1 in the Garden to win the series.
Yeah. So like, is it a 4-game series where every game is like a 10-point loss or less, or is it a 6 or 7-game series? Because we were just talking, about the Celtics and how dominant they looked over that 76ers team without Embiid. Like, that's kind of, you don't want to lose sight of the series you're in because you're thinking about the next series when you haven't won the one you're in yet. But as a fan who has no stakes in this game, I'm already looking forward, thinking every game, well, how does this affect the Knicks in their hope to beat the Celtics? Because that's kind of who they expect to face if they were to win it.
Yeah, you want to stay as fresh as possible. It's a good point. But I do think we'll probably. I just don't see it being a sweep, but we'll see. We'll see.
Especially not the way they're playing right now. The Hawks are keeping this very close.
Yeah, it's just once in the scary thing of you get into 2 minutes left and it's a close game, but then you got to beat Jalen Brunson in the clutch, and he's one of the best clutch scorers, and your options just aren't nearly as good.
Yep.
And you're in the Garden, so
True.
Good luck. We can move on to the next game though.
Let's do it.
The Rockets-Lakers game 1. We got a nice little twist about, an hour before tip-off. It was like, KD got hurt in practice, isn't going to play in game 1. And from then on, it kind of felt, and especially with the way the Lakers started the game, just couldn't miss. It was like, okay, this feels like a must-win for the Lakers to win this series. You get the gift of KD not playing. You're really just trying to extend the series for as long as possible until Luka can come back, if that's possible. And so they take that early lead. And then they don't necessarily cruise because, Reed Shepherd comes at a halftime and hits a 3, and all of a sudden the Lakers are down 1. But they quickly retake the lead with the way LeBron was playing, controlling the pace. He had 8 assists in the first quarter. Luke Kennard comes out. He hits 5 threes, finishes with 27 points. I was watching with my brother-in-law, and he kept, in Jackson, and they started calling him Luka. They were like, we don't need, I thought Luka wasn't playing. Here he is, Luka Kennard. that Aiden was good. He was pretty locked in in terms of as DeAndre Aiden plays. You can't really ask for much more from him, which is really good. The starters played well because that bench doesn't exist.
Yep.
Like running Jared Vanderbilt. Bronny got some run in this game.
Yep.
Did not go very well.
Did not put up a shot. Finished with 1 turnover
Bronny
and
was
2 fouls.
+3. He was
Big.
+3.
+3.
in his
That's
4
winning
minutes.
player.
His stat line reads
That's good minutes.
4 minutes, 1 turnover, 2 fouls.
Look, when you
+3.
if you become a coach one day and you coach basketball one day, you're gonna have some kids in your team that suck, and if you can get plus and a plus minus out of them for X amount of minutes, those are good minutes.
Sure.
So good minutes from Bronny, in my opinion.
It was. You could tell the Rockets were like, okay, they put Bronny in. Like now, let's go because they weren't really aggressively pressing ball handlers, and then Bronny gets in, and they're like, all right, we're gonna make Bronny dribble up against the press. I'm like, that sucks so much for Bronny to have to do that. But phenomenal game from the Lakers, and they just take advantage of what, unsurprisingly, was a dysfunctional offense from the Rockets without KD. I'm gonna read just a couple of stats for you that really paint a picture of how insane this loss is. They shot 93 shots to the Lakers' 66 shots. They only shot 1 less free throw. They had 5 less turnovers, and they grabbed 21 offensive boards to only 3 from the Lakers, which all that culminates in, once again, shooting 27 more shots than the other team.
Yeah.
But your team sucks at scoring so much and is so inefficient that you still end up losing the game because the guys taking the bulk of your shots are like Şengün and Amin Thompson, who are fine, but like when you ask them to be the primary scorer and they don't really have much flexibility, they're just driving downhill and the Lakers are collapsing the paint. Aiden, when he's locked in, is a pretty good vertical rim protector, especially against someone like Şengün. Like Şengün just is smaller. Şengün can't play vertically like that. And so they just really, really struggled. They shot the 3 ball okay, but also there were a lot of really loud misses in there. I mean, there's a point when Jabari Smith shoots from the corner. It's short, so the ball kicks right back out to him. He takes another 3 and hits the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
Just stretches like that where that's why it was like even though the score was kind of close, it never really felt like the Lakers were going to lose because the Rockets just had no offensive flow. And it's really sad because this is not a good defensive team from the Lakers.
Nope.
They do not have very many good defenders, very good point of attack defenders. I praised Aiden's rim protection, but it's not like people go into games against the Lakers and are like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so hard to score in the paint because DeAndre Aiden's down there. Like, that's not a thing. But I've done a lot of talking, so any thoughts on the game from y'all?
The Magic-esque start for LeBron, you mentioned it,
Sure.
8 assists. He had, in the first quarter, finishes was 13 assists. He had 5 different Lakers assisted off or scored off of his passes in that first quarter. Very Magic-esque, getting everyone involved. And so that led to a very fantastic output from the Lakers starting 5, all 5 players with 14+. I got to say, congrats to the Lakers for winning this game. But I am so effing pissed at the Rockets because
Yeah.
they played like pure dog butt. Defensively, I do not get what Ime Udoka is thinking in, all right, we're going to start Josh Okogie. All right, we're going to put Josh Okogie on LeBron James when we have Amen Thompson.
Yeah.
Literally one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. What are we doing here? Unless Josh Okogie's job is to be in the game and hard foul LeBron for the first quarter and just pick up fouls,
Didn't do it.
then there's no reason for
Yeah.
him to be on LeBron to start the game, which then in turn means there's no reason to start Josh Okogie. The other one is like, dude, Luke, we cannot be going under screens on Luke Kennard.
Yeah.
We cannot. We can go over the screen. We could get held up on the screen for 2 seconds and let Luke Kennard get downhill. No one is scared of Luke Kennard downhill. Let him go downhill. It does not matter, especially with your rim protection. At least in terms of just your size with Jabari Smith and Şengün and such in help defense. Let Kennard go downhill. Why are we going under screens? And like JJ Redick was like not even like in a bag. It was as simple as, all right, let's just run a little pin down screen.
Yeah.
All right, let's run a little curl screen for Luke Kennard, wide open, and he knocks down all 5 of his threes in the game. The defensive performance for a team that is riding on defense was
Really bad.
pitiful.
Yeah.
It was pitiful. I mean, the Lakers only scored 107 points in this game.
Sure.
I get it. The Rockets could have scored more and won the game, of course. But the Lakers shooting at the percentage they did, scored 107 points, and they shot at the percentage they did because they got so many easy baskets and easy looks, and that just can't happen. I'm not with how some people have reacted in terms of, I don't know how you guys feel. The Lakers are now like riding chance to win this series. I do expect the Rockets to turn it around. I would hope at least that they can acknowledge the stupidity of how they played defensively in the first game.
Yeah.
And with Kevin Durant returning, they will turn it around. I think the Rockets win the next 4 games, honestly.
Really?
We'll see.
I think they should turn it around. The Lakers shot at 60%, 50% from 3, but only scored 107 points. As Jack mentioned, the Rockets, with how many more shots they had, I think it was like 27, give or take.
93 to 66.
Yeah, 27 more shots, 18 more offensive rebounds. Like, I just expect the Rockets to shoot a little bit better. And with Kevin Durant, I just expect their offense to work a lot better. The Lakers were turning the ball over for multiple stretches of the game and really giving the Rockets free possessions, and the Rockets just didn't take enough advantage of it. I would like to think if I was coaching the Rockets, I would win the next 4 games. So I don't know if they're going to actually do that, but that would be my guess at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think the Lakers pulled off some amazing game plan and won this game. I thought the Rockets just point blank lost it.
When does KD come back? Do we have any idea?
He's game time for game 2, and I expect he'll play in game 2.
Okay.
Unless just like he just simply can't go, which doesn't really seem to be the theme. Yeah, I probably like still Lakers or Rockets in probably 6, which I think that's where I was in our prediction show. I don't actually remember for sure. It's really like it's big for the Lakers because they were such dead men walking to like even win 1 is like a pretty big deal. But you are right; it was a pathetic performance from the Rockets. Defense is their calling card. It wasn't there, and it's just like I think it was Luke Kennard's 5th 3. He just like runs to the top of the key, and it's a simple screen, and Aubin Thompson tries to switch it with I don't remember who else, and so they're just confused on if they're switching it or not. So no one steps out. He cans the 3, and it's like this is now game 83 of the season. We can't be confused on if we're switching or not on a simple screen. Like those types of miscommunications should already be out the door. And if you want to be an elite defensive team, they can't happen. Definitely not on the best shooter on the team. So it was just a really poor performance. And then I also do think there's a world where like as good as a lot of the defenders on the Rockets is, when Şengün's in the game and Şengün's the guy that's locking down the paint, your defense can only be so elite because Şengün is really easy to score over. I mean, talking about Luke Kennard, he had a couple like middies where it's like he can only hit that midi because Şengün does not cover ground very well.
Yeah.
So he's kind of weaving his way. He gets, ridden off the 3-point line and then pulls up into a nice little midi, which is not his game. Once again, Şengün in drop coverage, he doesn't command a lot of space, doesn't cover a lot of ground.
It's got to be the most annoying thing about playoff basketball is drop coverage.
Yeah.
Honestly. These big guys that just refuse to get up and guard, it is very infuriating. Especially when it is, I don't know if you're going to say the same thing, especially when it is a big man that if we're dropping to protect the rim, and we're not a rim protector in general.
Yeah, he got multiple lobs thrown over him where
Yeah.
it was like, it wasn't even like, it's like, anyone can technically have lobs thrown over them, but like, for example, Wemby's an anomaly, but I'm trying to think of even like a Klingon, for example.
Yeah.
You got to throw that lob really dang high. It makes the window of timing a lot tighter. Your margin for error is a lot higher. With Şengün, it's like, oh, I can throw that thing at 10.5 feet, 11 feet, and my guy's just going to go catch it, and Şengün's probably not even going to jump. So you're 100% right. It's very frustrating from the Rockets Spurs fan here, Jersey. It was very fun to watch. I'm also a LeBron guy, so it was really fun to watch, LeBron do his thing and, hit his 3 and then hit his left-handed turnaround little, like, flick up and then his tough turnaround on the left, baseline against Aubin Thompson. He runs down the court kind of making the face of, like, I just did that. Fun to watch, and I'm excited for the series to continue just because playoff basketball in L.A., what is KD coming back do for the Rockets? I expect to do a lot and make a huge difference. But, yeah, it's a very, very bad loss to the Rockets. Anything you want to add, Sanders?
Nope.
Cool.
I say we pause it there till this game ends because I feel like we're gonna be distracted. If y'all are
I
alright with
wish
that.
I was going to be distracted.
I mean, you don't want to watch the final minute and 47
Oh,
seconds.
I'm watching.
Yeah, but like I was just gonna say we could just temper it. Like
This is going to last at least 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Let's
Both
go,
teams have a timeout.
Let's go to
Hawks have
Minnesota, Detroit, or Minnesota, Denver, because while that's a great series, they're going to play Game 2 tonight, and so like a lot of what we're fixing to say here is probably going to be irrelevant, and so like this probably even really need to get posted as a separate video if that makes sense.
okay,
So like if we're a little distracted or whatever, it is what it is. It is really funny that the Hawks would just walk down the Knicks, but Jalen Brunson does, and that's what he does.
Big time shot.
Big time shot. Timberwolves came out firing in Game 1 of the series against the Nuggets, but the Nuggets just kind of reeled them back in, did what they did what they always do, and they ended up taking the series lead 1-0. That is the Nuggets. Jokic was pretty good. I actually think Gobert played pretty good defense, some of the best defense he has played against Jokic in a while. Jamal Murray, while inefficient, couldn't hit a 3, got to the free throw line 16 times, and they shot over 10 more free throws, the Nuggets.
Yeah, what a weird
than
box score
the
game
Timberwolves.
for Jamal. 16 for 16 at the line, 0 for 8 from 3, 30 points. He also had the largest plus-minus out of anyone, plus 13.
Yeah. You can spin this game almost either way if you want, and the pro Nugget spin is like, Jamal, we didn't shoot the ball well. We were sub 30% three-point shooting. And like Jokic didn't even really look necessarily. He tried, and we just come out with a win. And so like we're chilling. For the Timberwolves, it's like, well, no one really got going. His 3-ball wasn't falling, and that's kind of an anomaly. And like he's gonna get more and more healthy. Like we're gonna be fine. Like I trust Ant. All right, CJ, crazy. I think I'm on the pro Nugget side of that equation just because I don't think there's any guarantee Ant is going to get any healthier. He definitely isn't quite 100%, and that's a huge thing. And that's also like the Timberwolves' secondary pieces I just don't think have enough juice to end up winning this, right? Like Julius Randle has an okay game. Naz Reid, not really a factor off the bench. Jaden McDaniels, pretty inefficient day scoring. Not that that's crazy surprising. As a whole, I just don't think the Timberwolves, like, guys that you're like, okay, we need them to play a little better, have any sort of guarantee to play better. And so that is what it is. But do you agree with that, or like which stance would you take, if that makes sense? Or do you agree with more? That being pro Nuggets, we didn't shoot the ball well at all. We still won. That's like we're chilling. Or for the Timberwolves, it's like Ant didn't really play great, and we were kind of in it.
I'm going to go pro Nuggets, personally. Yeah. I know Ant is dealing with the knee. We all know that. And it's going to be a contributing story going forward. But I think he was settling for bad shots, and I don't think that necessarily means it's going to change. I also 22 points is just not enough. I don't care if he wasn't shooting well enough. He's got to score more than that in a series where every matchup he has should be food. I do think Naz Reid has to be way more aggressive because you're being guarded by Jonas Valanciunas and Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Food, personally. You can't be scoring 5 points. You also can't just be attempting 6 shots. And I don't know if those are necessarily things that are going to change because this Timberwolves team has just been a really hard team to predict over the past few seasons in the postseason. I do think, the Nuggets can kind of feel like they stole a game. They were down 10 after the first quarter in this game. So to complete a double-digit comeback on this team, struggling the way that they did to start the game. The Aaron Gordon foul triple, he gets 3 fouls very early. Doesn't commit another foul the rest of the game when he comes back in. That was really impressive, but I just think this team is way scarier. And now to see it, lead to a win in a postseason game, it is, obvious now. When we talked about last year's Nuggets, pretty much every time we talked about them in the span of, what was it?
Month.
13 games they played in the postseason? 7-game series against the Thunder.
It was 7 against the Clippers.
Yeah, so 14 games. Yeah. Over the course of the 14 games, every time we talked about them, it was, there's just 5 guys you can trust, and it's just the starting lineup. You cannot trust Russell Westbrook off the bench. You can't even really trust Michael Porter Jr. So really just 4 guys. And you can't trust Julian Strother either, Peyton Watson even to a degree. This year, like you can already see it through the first game, and you could see it this year. Bruce Brown, he has 5 steals in this game, and is an instant energizer bunny off the bench. Cameron Johnson, double-digit scoring output. If he does that every single game, they're going to be in a good spot because MPJ had multiple single-digit duds last year. Tim Hardaway hits a few nice threes in this game. I think he's going to shoot it better in a few games too. I just think they're already showing that, like, this is a team that now you have, like, 7 guys. 7 starting caliber guys. You also, one of those 7 guys is an all-star in Jamal Murray, and one of the other 7 guys is top 3 player on the planet, and Nikola Jokic, a defending champ, or a former NBA champion. So I think the Nuggets kind of stole one a little bit. The Timberwolves, if to get out to that hot start and to get those like minutes with Eric Gordon completely out the floor, they did not capitalize on them. And I do think it is because Ant and Naz Reid just didn't take advantage of the moment and were not as aggressive as I wanted them to be and didn't score enough.
Yeah, it's also just like it does kind of feel like pinching the Nuggets stole one, but I can't say I'm surprised because it's what they do compared to the Timberwolves. Like, one of the things that irks me about this Timberwolves team, and I think really limits their ceiling, is they just struggle to like play consistent fundamental basketball. Whether it's like, okay, we get a big defensive stop and then we throw a really sloppy outlet pass that just goes out of bounds, and so all our hard work's for naught. Or, oh, I just defended great for 20 seconds, and then I commit a stupid reach-in foul, and so it just resets their timer. Or I give up a really bad, back cut, or don't box out my man. Like, there's just consistent stuff like that they do every game that just makes it hard to, like, they build a 10-point lead to sustain it. Or they're in the clutch, sustain it. Now, they have a lot of talent, so they have a lot of ways to work out it. And it's not like they're doing that every play. But, like, for these championship contention teams, like, when the game matters the most, like, the little things really do add up. I do want to give props to Rudy Gobert. Had a pretty good game. I think he had 17 points. Let me see. Yeah, 17-point games. Only missed 1 shot. And like I said earlier, defended Jokic pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah.
So it hurts to waste that game. But also, like, matchup-wise, I do think there's a way where Gobert can kind of have these kind of impact games all series, because it's not like Jokic is, like, stuffing him at the rim or anything like that.
Yeah, Jokic can't guard him to a degree. And Jonas Valanciunas, in the minutes he played against Jonas, he scored, he was doing 6 or 8 points.
Yeah.
In those non-Aaron Gordon, non-Jokic minutes where Gobert was on the floor. He just got whatever he wanted on Jonas. So I do think Rudy is going to have, I agree, I think Rudy's going to have a nice scoring output this series. And they're going to need that.
Can I ask what happened? Because
McCollum went to the foul after Brunson hit the 3 to cut it to 1. McCollum went to the foul line, missed both free throws. Knicks didn't have any timeouts. Josh Hart rebound, outlet to Bridges. Bridges 1-on-1.5, step back, mid range, short corner jumper, missed it short.
Gotcha.
What I'll say about this Timberwolves Nuggets series is I can't remember what I picked the series to go to, how many games. But I think I would go Nuggets in 4 right now.
Really?
With the Edwards injury, I just don't know. Like, the Nuggets, Jokic cannot be the best player on his team that night, and they can still win. Now, he's going to have to still be really good, but, like, Jamal Murray led the team in points, led the team in plus-minus with plus 13.
Yeah, but
Jokic still had the 11. He still had the triple-double. He was still good. But I just, like, I don't know if Edwards has that. Like, Edwards has to score 40, or in my opinion, or 35 or 40. Because, like, you look at their other playoff wins, but can he do that right now with his injury, or is that going to hold him back?
I don't care.
I think a sweep is pretty bold, because even just, like, it's just you are right. Like, Jokic. No, I would argue Jokic is basically always the best player on the team.
That's
just because of the all-around impact. But, like, Jamal Murray can be really good. But there is still a world where, like, Julius Randle has a really good game. Or, like, the Timberwolves' secondary pieces, Dante DiVincenzo, Ayo DeSumo, Jaden McDaniels combined for, like, 11 threes or something like that. Like, they have a lot of avenues that can win the game. The biggest thing is, like, they're not going to win 4 with Ant not playing very well. But they could still get 1 or 2. And, like, playoff atmospheres do matter. Like, they're going to eventually get Game 3 at home in Minnesota, that place is going to be riled up.
Yeah.
The Target Center.
Yeah, the Target Center. It could be a sweep, and Denver would love to be a sweep because that's where my mind was going. Because OKC's probably fixing to cakewalk to a conference finals. I mean, they very well may play 8 games and be in the conference finals the way things are shaping up.
Yeah.
And Denver needs to try and stay as fresh as possible, and they're going to have San Antonio probably in round 2. But I think that's counting the Wolves out and not giving them enough credit for what they've accomplished. I mean, they've been to back-to-back conference finals.
Right.
So I think they deserve
And
a little bit of respect.
Edwards scored like 30, 35 in most of those wins.
I think it's a fine point. Like, I can understand the argument for it. But I also have just seen too many Nuggets Timberwolves games to know that the Timberwolves are very, very capable of starting like they did to start game 1, getting that 10-point lead, and then just continuing the rest of the way. They've done that before. They've blown out the Nuggets before. They've also completed big comebacks on the Nuggets before. So I just think they know. Chris Finch said it before game 1. He was telling whoever the Amazon Prime crew was that was doing this game, he was telling them that their plan for Jokic was just, let's just go win the game. Like, there wasn't even like we've debated, do you let Jokic score 50 or let him get the triple-double? Their plan was just, let's just go win the game, because they've done that 7 times against the Nuggets in the playoffs. So they know it's possible, and I think they just need to, like, just go execute it. Like, it's almost, I almost would compare it to, like, sometimes an angle ball where it's you're the better team, but you had a bad first half, and it's just like, we know what we have to do. Let's just go do it. Let's just go get it done. And I think the Timberwolves have the confidence that they can do that, and I do think this series still could go 6 or 7.
I mean, it's the one thing of, like, they have that confidence because of Ant. Ant probably thinks he's the best player in the NBA. And while I don't agree with that, I think he's within his rights to feel like that with the types of performances he can have. And so that swagger, they're just going to carry that with them. I completely agree. Also, if we could get the Timberwolves Nuggets game up when we get a chance, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, I just don't see sweep happening.
I think it's possible. Like, it very well could just be another one of your takes. Is like, me and Jack are like, yeah, that's a bunch of BS crap.
Yeah.
Which we didn't say that literally, but we kind of said that.
Yeah.
And then it's just right.
Yeah.
So
we shall see.
We shall see.
But I don't think it's as outlandish as the other ones we've seen in the past. That's for sure.
Hey, some of those very outlandish ones have been correct.
Now I mean, you can. I say I just disagree. I just said, I trust Jalen Brunson down the clutch. Like, if it's a close game, I struggle to think the Hawks win it. And CJ McCollum just goes band for band down the stretch. Suddenly the series is tied. And
Jalen Brunson didn't have either of the
last
last 2 Knicks shots, or he didn't have the last one? Did he have the second
he
last
had the
one?
He didn't have the last one.
He hit the 3 to
He
make
hit
it 1 point.
He hit the 3.
But he
got
2 threes
He
back
got
to back.
ripped by Nickeil Alexander-Walker to let the Hawks extend
it
the
to
lead
4.
to 4 points.
Yeah.
So what do I know?
Yeah.
Now that we've mentioned or talked about the 2 teams where this is involved, I want to talk about Gatorade Gate.
Sure.
Which I mentioned in the chat and then didn't follow up on because mysterious reasons. Have we seen the clip of Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns?
I've seen Anthony Edwards drinking and be like, man, this shit tastes good or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Cat did the same thing. He sipped the Gatorade post-game, game 1, and then was like, whatever he said, like, damn, this is really good or whatnot. Apparently, Gatorade has come out with, they're called Gatorade mashups.
Oh.
Where they're combining 2 of their iconic flavors. The specific one that Ant and Cat were drinking was the Glacier Freeze combined with the Glacier Cherry, which is like the... you can kind of see from the picture, Jack.
Yeah, it's like the light blue and the clear.
Yeah, the light blue and the clear. They combined the 2 of those, and they both liked it. Sadly, this has not hit the shelves in Starkville, Mississippi. I was going to
Dang.
get those, and we were going to try them
Yeah, I was
tonight.
about to say, I'm bringing some for draft night.
If I find them by draft night, we'll bring them
Okay.
and we'll taste test them to see if Ant and Karl Anthony Towns' reactions. They're both really funny.
Yeah.
People thought it was like just fake advertisement kind of thing, but I don't know. Gatorade's pretty damn good, so that it very well could just be
Well, I mean, Anthony Edwards has had some Gatorade controversy before.
He
There's
has,
the
yes.
clip where he almost takes a sip like 10 different times in a 30-second span. But I saw the ant clip where he was like, "Man, this tastes good." I didn't see the cat one. That's good, and now I really want to try it. It's a good idea from Gatorade for a little flavor mashup.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep looking this week,
Bet.
and maybe we try it on Thursday. If it's again Starkville, very prestigious place, so it's hard to get good things out here because we're kind of out on an island.
Yeah, it's not great for stuff like that. That's for sure. But we can move on to the next series. We got 2 more.
Give me a sec. My mouse
Yeah,
is
you're
not
good.
working.
You good? Do. Boom, ba-dum, boom, boom. A Knicks collapse just feels so good, man. I won't lie. It can't happen against a better team.
All right, let's move on to Orlando, Detroit.
Yep. Obviously the shocker of all the game ones, and that's the Magic beating the Pistons, the 8 seed, knocking off the 1 seed. Is it now what the Pistons have lost 11 straight home playoff games?
I thought it was. It's in the double digits.
It may be more.
I may be thinking it's 14.
Either way,
or I think they haven't won one since 2014.
Either way, the number's way too high. That just can't really happen. And it was honestly a pretty commanding win from the Magic. It didn't feel fluky. It's not like the Magic went out there and shot 50% from 3. They actually were sub 30% from 3, which is kind of on the mark for them. But Paulo Banchero locked in. He looked really good in the touches he got. He was very confident and he was very assertive with the ball. He knew what he wanted to do. His shot making was actually quite good, which is not always the case for him. And then the pieces around him really fell into place. You know, Jalen Suggs is flying around. Franz added a lot. Wendell Carter was phenomenal down low. And overall, they completely nullified the Pistons' greatest strength, which is, we're the Pistons. We're the big, tough team. And it just did not look like the case on the court, I guess, Sunday. So that was a shock. And, you know, it sucks for Pistons to waste that Cade game where he had, 39 points.
39.
It was very phenomenal. But they just don't have the spacing and the shooting around him. And then the other big physical guys that are supposed to get in the paint, grab offensive rebounds, make layups, didn't do that. I mean, Jalen Duren shot the ball 4 times, and that's a guy that, some people have put on their all-NBA teams for this season. He was an all-star. That can't happen. That just simply cannot happen. You cannot take 4 shots in a playoff game. You can't finish with 8 points. You can't go through long stretches as the second-best player on the 1 seed and have people go, oh, wait, Jalen Duren's out there right now? You're getting outdueled by Wendell Carter Jr.? No disrespect to Wendell Carter Jr. He played great, but once again, that just can't happen. A great win for the Magic, but y'all's thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was just a clear representation of the difference between a team playing their 3rd game in 5 days versus a team
True.
who hadn't played in over a week. Not to mention when they played a week ago, their starters only played 20 minutes in that game against the Pacers to end the season. So I'm not surprised by them being off to the slow start. And I do think they get a pass for this, and they've at least from what I've seen today, they've gotten a pass for it because they're a young team. This is just their 2nd time in the postseason.
True.
2 years ago, they had 14 total wins. Now they're the 1 seed of the Eastern Conference. They get a pass for this. They're not the Celtics, they're not the Cavs, they're not the Knicks, who are the 1 seed and lose a game 1 at home. Those are inexcusable losses. This one, not so much. I just think this was a little bit of rust for them, and I don't think we should overreact too much to the Magic and the way that they played in this game. It is not surprising to me that they won a game in this series. I told y'all it was going to be a bad matchup. The Magic and the Heat were the 2 bad matchups. They split the series with the Magic this year. Cade Cunningham averaged 33 a game against the Magic. In the 3 games he played, he scores 39, so he raises his average. But outside of that, they couldn't find any other scoring, and that, again, showed in this game. So I'm not surprised the Magic stole this game whatsoever, but we also have to remember the Magic are, in the past week, lost to the Celtics B team, Celtics G League team in
C
Game
team
82.
maybe?
Maybe
Honestly?
C team, yeah, in Game 82, and they, got blown out by the 76ers, who then turned around and got blown out by the Celtics. So this is not a Magic team that I think is going to sustain this over 4 straight games. Will they find this performance maybe 2 more times? Sure. I think
Yeah.
it's definitely possible. But the Pistons they're going to have to learn from this in terms of how to start a playoff series when you've rested for an entire week. And they're going to need this for other series as well throughout their playoff careers.
Yeah.
What happens when you sweep a team and you have to sit out for a week? You need to be prepared for that game 1 at home, because you can't just can't just give it to their team, because
Sure.
immediately then home court advantage is theirs that quickly.
Yeah,
And-
it's go ahead.
I was
You
gonna
got it.
say, you just talk about like the lack of scoring outside of Cunningham. For reference, only one other player scored in double digits on Sunday night, that's just kind of wild in the NBA, where you
Tobias Harris, who was it?
It was Tobias Harris was 17. Everyone else had less than that. They played a deep bench, played 6 guys off the bench, but
Yeah.
none of those guys scored more than 6. So just not a lot of points scored anywhere outside of Cade Cunningham and then Tobias Harris.
Yeah, the youth is a good point, because it is like they've not been here before. Now it is still tough to, you would like them to show up a little better in a spot they've not been in before. And as much as I just got on the Pistons to start the segment, I don't think the Magic are going to win this series, but I do now think that this series is going to be a tough ask from the Pistons in terms of they're going to be pushed a lot more than most 1 seeds are by an 8 seed, and they're really going to have to grow from it. And it may honestly copium, but it may honestly help, because it's pretty clear they play that deep bench right. They're still like trying to figure out who in the world is going to give scoring off the bench, who's going to help Cade, who's going to hit the shots and help space the floor. And so maybe throughout the course of the series they can find that. Maybe they don't have it on the roster, and that's going to limit their ceiling in this playoffs. But it looks like they're still trying to figure some stuff out in terms of, hey, we're new to this playoff thing, who can play, who can't. And the Magic took full advantage of that, and just kind of exerted their will. And it honestly did show a little bit why, they were my rod and egg on Thursday, why the Magic season has been so frustrating, because there's a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah.
They got some dudes, and they put it together in 1 game, and now it's like, can they do it again? You shouldn't really expect them to. They've not done it all season. But it was a good sign to see.
I don't think they have it on the roster as far as like the second scoring output.
Sure.
With Cade, I think especially if Jalen Duren's going to just revert to old Jalen Duren throughout the playoffs, which I don't expect. But we already saw it through 1 game, which means it could happen again. If without Dennis Jenkins having that like really hot stretch after the Cade injury, I'm not sure you would have anyone on the bench you'd believe in coming off the bench to score any points.
Yeah.
I do I just expect their players to shoot better a little bit. Tobias Harris is 1 for 7 from 3. Dennis Jenkins hit his first 3 of the game off the bench. It was like, oh boy, here we go. And then he missed his next 5 threes in the game. I think they're going to shoot a little bit better. But as far as their ceiling, it is a little capped. It is a little Cade reliant. And so Jalen Duren, which is how you started, has to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
You can't let Wendell Carter Jr., Bulls legend, Wendell Carter Jr., bully him like he did in that game.
And you already said it, but like I expect him to be more aggressive going forward. I expect him to, get in the film session, or even like sitting in the locker room 5 minutes after the game and be like, bro, what was I doing? Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Because it's not been him. So he definitely has to step it up.
They, as a whole, need to step it up because Tolu Smith is here and he wants to
He's
win a
ready
ring.
to steal some minutes,
Yeah.
He's here to win a ring.
Sure.
Let's get Tolu a ring.
Would that's still not the first Mississippi State guy to win an NBA championship?
I'll ask Google Gemini and see what they say.
Because that would be kind of sick.
I can't think of one off my head, but like, did Quinn Weatherspoon
yeah,
spend
Q
some
won
time
one
on the
with the
Warriors?
Warriors.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Okay, would this be the first time a state guy is not on? I think Q was on a 2-way contract at the time.
Yeah, I don't think he ever got a standard.
There's 3 of them. Jarvis Fernando.
Shout out
Bernardo.
Jarvis.
Bernardo, sorry.
All-time NCAA blocks leader for a career.
Yep.
He won with the Miami Heat in 2013 when they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then Bailey Howell.
He was part of that big three, right?
Yeah.
It was him, Wade. It was Bernardo, Wade, and LeBron.
Yep.
Okay, I think you're talking about
I'm gonna
Bailey Howell.
I'm gonna
No,
Photoshop. You know the photo of the Dwayne Wade like running after LeBron
Yeah,
dunk.
it's
You
gonna be
just
Jarvis.
Photoshop Jarvis Bernardo in the background.
Bailey Howell was a 6-time All-Star and won 2 titles with the Celtics in 68 and 69.
That's sick.
Bailey
out
Howell
Bailey Howell.
was a member, arguably a member of the Big Three with Bill Russell and Bob Cousy.
That's sick.
Shut up, Bob. Cool. Well, let's get on to the last series here. Pretty fun nightcap last night between the Spurs and the Blazers. Fun for multiple reasons. One being we got to watch Wemby's playoff debut, and he delivered. Gave you 35 points, 5 of 6 from 3. Made JP put some expletives in the yapping group chat because he hits like Curry-esque movement 3 from the corner. He has a play where he goes coast to coast, which includes a behind the back, and then gets into the paint and then spins off and dunks it. Just stuff like that. It's all dropping every time. He was great, and the Spurs players did pretty good job of playing the roles around him in a lot of their first, playoff action for some young guys.
Yeah, it was first playoff experience for Devin Vassell, Stephon
Vassell, but
Castle,
yeah.
Vassell. I always get it.
Well, to be
Vassell
fair,
and Castle.
80% of the announcers say Vassell.
Oh.
So, like, if you're watching
I did not
Spurs
know
games,
that.
like, 80% is strong. But there's a lot because it's Stephon Castle,
Yeah,
they just want to go Vassell.
yeah.
And that's just not true.
Devin Vassell.
But you probably have heard his name pronounced by Vassell by
Yeah.
a theoretically reputable source.
The
Yeah,
Vassell and Castle, that's a fair shot right
Yeah.
there.
But Castle, it's his first experience. Vassell's his first
Cassell.
experience.
Cassell. Sam Cassell.
Yeah.
Fox had the one tournament or the one series against the Warriors like 3 years ago.
Yep. King of the fourth quarter, De'Aaron Fox.
Former Clutch Player of the Year.
Champagny, where did
First.
So 4 out of your 5 starters were getting their first playoff experience. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you build a team like through the draft and are bad, and now you're good.
Well, yeah, we got the grizzled vets off the bench holding it down, Harrison Barnes and Luke Cornett.
Yeah.
they get they get the job done.
Which, what a treat to see Luke Cornett and Matisse Thybulle square off in the playoffs for the first time. That wasn't just a made-up stat. I actually went back and researched it because I was like, Cornett, Celtic, Thybulle, 76er, surely they clashed in the playoffs. They were never on the same team at the same time
Sure.
in any of those series between the Sixers and Celtics. So this was the first time I got to see that.
Yeah.
Which that was, of course, really cool. I love that the chat really liked that one, too. I think 2 stats. Dylan Harper plus 18 in his 23 minutes.
Yep.
Crazy. And Jerami Grant minus 25 in his 19 minutes.
Yeah, Grant's interesting because
Shocking.
he had the stat where like he hadn't played a game in April in like 4 years,
Yeah.
and then since they made the playoffs, now he's playing in April. And he did not deliver in his first April basketball in a long time. I do want to say for the Blazers, I thought they were very feisty and put up a good fight. And while I in no way think they have a chance of winning this series, I'm going to knock on wood as a Spurs fan. I think there's a lot to love going forward in terms of like, hey, Denny Avdia has shown that he can play in the playoffs one game, but like he was even good in the play-in game. And he seems he's getting to a point where it's a little bit like game plan proof in terms of like, oh, he wants to drive right. He loves to get downhill, so we're going to sit on his right hand. But he's like slowly developing like step-back jumpers going to the left and stuff like that, and he was knocking those down last night. Scoot is a little beleaguered as a prospect at this point, but he looked pretty good in moments last night. Klingen's still a young center who didn't have the best night, but like you're playing against Wemby as a growing big man. Like they're feisty, and they're feisty this year, but I do think they're a core that can get better and better as they move forward. And once again, I mean, Denny dropped 30 in his playoff debut. So speaking of playoff debuts, Wemby's was great. His wasn't really too far behind.
Yeah, another Wizard that is having their best days away from the Wizards, and Denny Advia.
Who's the last? I guess like the last good Wizard, or like, either good Wizard or player that was good, even if they weren't good on the Wizard, that had their best days on the Wizards is probably Bradley Beal.
Yeah, Bradley Beal, and then it's John Wall.
Yeah, but even think about like someone like Davis Bertans, who was great on the Spurs as a knockdown shooter. Wizards signed him to a fairly hefty contract, and he potatoes. It's pretty common for people to potato on the Wizards, so it is nice to see him flourish. He's a fun player to watch.
Yeah, I really just have to go back to that entire group of Wizards teams that made the playoffs a few years in a row. Like the Nene and Marcin Gortat were best as Wizards, in my opinion.
Shout out Gortat, man. What a screener.
The Gortat screen.
Yep. Speaking of that Wizards team, and I think kind of their height was losing to the Kelly Olynyk game in Game 7 against the Celtics. Do you see what
Yes.
Kelly Olynyk was wearing last night in terms of socks?
Yes, ankle socks.
Yeah.
No-show socks, I guess?
Basically what I'm wearing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know my sock terminology. I won't lie, but they were below
Sanders,
his
you
ankle.
wear like the no-show socks,
Are
right?
they no-
Yeah, I wear.
Ankle?
Those are not no show.
Yeah, these aren't no-show, but this is kind of what
Those
he was
probably
wearing.
those
ankle?
are like ankle socks.
Okay,
Okay.
he was rocking ankle socks with his basketball shoes, which is a crime,
After gifting all the Spurs the black suits,
which
like,
were cool.
they were all cool. They all showed up cool, and then he wears ankle socks.
I will say happy birthday, Kelly Oubre. Your birthday was yesterday, but like I still can't give you a pass for wearing those socks on NBA basketball court.
Those got to be Nuggets alumni cheerleaders, I
Yeah.
hope. I
Yeah.
hope we don't have their grandmas doing a cheerleading dance on the Denver Nuggets court right now. They can... I couldn't read the shirt. I couldn't tell if they're alumni. I want to talk about Victor Wembanyama.
Sure.
I would say I'm kind of speechless at this point. Speechless by his play. Speechless, and now I'm going to go on a nice monologue here. Speechless by his play. It's been a running theme for now 3 years, where it's every single night there's a clip that's just like, Jesus Christ, no way. He just did that. He just pulled up from the logo, made it.
Yeah.
Last night it was the falling away three in the corner to his left, which was Steph Curry-esque or any great shooter-esque. It was it's perfect swish too, unbelievable. Also the coast-to-coast play that you mentioned.
The Sizzlin' Seniors is what we were just
I'm
witnessing.
really sorry to interrupt your monologue,
No,
but
I
I
just-
just can't believe they're called the Sizzling
That's what
Seniors.
the shirt said. That's
Yep.
what it said. I just couldn't read it.
Oh,
It had
man.
some like glitter all over it.
Bedazzle.
So
It's
his
bedazzled.
play is phenomenal. His defense is just otherworldly at 7'4", and he just has that like sixth sense. He's a great defender. You just know it. He just knows when to be in the right spot. He reminds me a lot like, not that he's gonna. It's just a weird comparison, but Cooper Flagg kind of looked like last year in college. It's just like, okay, this guy is a phenomenal defender.
Yeah.
He's the best defender in college basketball. Victor is just the best defender on the planet, period, at 7'4". And if he was 6'10", he would still be one of the best defenders in the NBA. He is that good. So to see that, his play on the court is phenomenal. And now I'm seeing, as we're getting more and more of it, and we will get it more and more throughout the postseason, his character is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was asked last night, and it was I couldn't figure out if it was pregame conference or postgame conference. I'm pretty sure it was postgame conference. He was asked, "Do you feel any pressure or weight living up to Spurs greats, big men, David Robinson and Tim Duncan?" And he said, "I wouldn't say weight, no. I would say I feel safe. It feels like if you trip, there's a lot of hands that are ready to catch you." And for him to speak at a level like that, at the age he is, 23?
22.
22? Jesus.
Younger than me.
Uh,
And you.
and this is unbelievable.
And-
He's no troll, 1 day older than me.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So you got Wimby. You can become the next Wimby.
Yeah.
You got a chance.
There's still time.
Yeah, you're still younger than he is.
So for him to be A+ character, it clearly shows he's kind of already an A+ leader when you have answers like that to when you compare those answers to other guys' answers at 22, 23.
Yeah.
Ant is not wanting to drink the Gatorade. LaMelo Ball in his post-game press conferences were just like, okay, you could clearly tell this kid just isn't very smart. Like he's just a baller. He's just a hooper.
Yeah.
Wemby, you can tell he's unbelievably intelligent. So
It's that reading he does before every game. I don't know if you've seen that clip
I
at the
have not
All-Star
seen that
game
clip.
where Jokic is like just in disbelief that Wemby has a book and is like just I'm not gonna say like embarrassed, but just so like
Did he have
just
a
like,
book
that's
like LeBron
crazy.
had a book?
No,
or
like he actually reads before every game. He's a guy that like reads before every game. He's like, oh, I'm in bed by 9:30, trying to be asleep, by 10, stuff like that. It is really special. His character's really good, and a lot of that is, I will say, like it's him, but also that Spurs culture.
Yeah.
That he is not wrong that those legends are there to catch him if he falls. They were both at the game last night. They both had their Fiesta shirts on. The camera showed them a ton. But he is just truly a joy to have on your favorite team. And it is, you're 100% correct. It's because of the plays on the court, but also what he brings off the court. And even just like, trying to make his own fan group and like trying to, which that sounds prideful, but like because he wants to make the arena a feared arena and he wants the atmosphere to be better. He cares about the community. All that stuff is just, it's pretty special. It is crazy. This is a bit of an aside. He's now the 4th Spur to win a Defensive Player of the Year, which is the most of any franchise ever. Tim Duncan never won Defensive Player of the Year, which is like just kind of wild. Like in my head, I know he hasn't won one, but also in my head, it's like he was such a good defender. You kind of think he does.
Kawhi, George Gervin.
It wasn't Gervin. I
Not
don't know who
Gervin?
the 4th was.
Okay. David Robinson, Wemby.
It was like a George Gervin era Spur.
Okay.
But yeah, you would kind of expect Tim Duncan to be the 4th, and it wasn't. But he is a treat, and I can't wait to watch. And it's clear, and even like he talks about it. I mean, he had an interview last night where he was like, or I guess it was today because he just won the Defensive Player of the Year. But they're like, that's your first of many. Like, how does it feel? Like you have a relationship with Hakeem. Like,
Yeah.
your name is now on an award that has Hakeem's name on it. And Wemby was like smiling, and they like asked why he was smiling. He's like, oh, I'm smiling because like last time when I was at Hakeem's house, he has a plaque, and it's like the plaque basically says like all-time NBA leader in blocks, and Hakeem like basically like looks at Wemby and is like, hey, that plaque's gonna be yours one day, and it's like really lofty expectations, right? But it's very clear he has a goal for himself and a goal for his team, and he does everything within his power to put himself in a position to succeed. And I just can't wait to keep watching.
Yeah, I say all that to say, and I mean to be hyperbolic here, I think we might be watching the GOAT right now at 22. It feels that way. We'll see how his playoff success goes, because that is what determines a GOAT, at least in this era of the sport. So
he's on the best trajectory of anyone since LeBron.
Yeah.
So he legit is an already rarefied air in terms of a trajectory standpoint. Yes, there are years and years and so many things to still do, but you can't start it off much better.
Counterpoint, he beat the Trailblazers in Game 1. Snooze fest,
Yeah,
Finished 5th on his team in plus minus.
Yeah, no good feeling.
What kind of
not
leader is
actually
that?
very good. Yeah,
What kind of leader is that?
turned the ball over multiple times.
Yeah. Missed a free throw. Can't do that. 3 points.
Let Denny Advia score 30 points.
True.
Yeah,
Great point.
It was definitely him letting that happen.
Crazy he shot better from 3 than he did from free throw line.
Dude, he just like was on a heater from 3 last night, and I felt really bad for Donovan Clingan. Not gonna lie, because Donovan Clingan is like not trying to get blown by, and so he's sagging.
Which
back,
is
and
crazy that
just
Wemby can
pulls.
do that.
Yeah, I mean Wemby will just. I mean Wemby's pulled off a sham god before, so like he's got whatever he wants. I could talk about Wemby for 20 minutes, but we'll move on. And that's the last NBA playoff game. Unless you have anything else you want to add.
The only thing was the Trailblazers, if they want to get back in this series, which who knows, it's the Spurs' first playoff appearance. You know, just like it is for the Blazers.
Goofy
Anything
things
could
can
happen.
happen.
Scoot Henderson said post game, and I agree with him. I'm not going to say his quote, but the Blazers they got to get more physical with Wemby.
Yeah,
they might not have the players to do that, because Donovan Clingan is just not going to be very. I joke, of course, physically imposing on Wemby, but it also may be too early for physicality to like have a wear and tear on Wemby. You may have to wait for the second round or third round. But Scoot was saying in the post game, like, we got to hit him more when he's rolling to the basket. Like, just give him a little nudge, give him a little elbow, hit him when he's screening a little hard, instead of like going shoulder into him on a screen. Let's give him a little elbow as he's setting the screen on me, which Wemby doesn't really set screens. He just kind of gets in the area, never makes contact, and then kind of fades off.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to do. They may have to, like, actually just run through him. But they're going to have to get more physical with him to slow him down and keep him from having such an offensive output and defensive output.
It's a great point by
If he's,
Scoot.
if he's going to
Great
score
point by you.
35 and then
Yeah.
already be that good at the rim, you're toast.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. They really weren't, and they were really bad in terms of like just letting them roll unfettered to the rim. So I actually do want to ask one more thing. This is not a part of the game, but have you seen the stuff about the Blazers owner? Like he's just he's such a cheapskate of an owner.
Yes, yeah. That he
And
didn't
it's
fly the
crazy.
two-way guys out there,
Didn't fly
whatever.
the two-way guys. They're not having shirts at their playoff game. He is apparently only they got a coaching search going on because Chauncey Billups decided he wanted to play some illegal poker, and like they're only planning on offering $1 million to $1.5 million per year as their coaching salary, which would be like bottom of the league basically, and you're just not putting yourself in a position to get be competitive in the coaching market with those kind of numbers. Really strange, and honestly pretty sucks. 'Cause I just talked about how fun some of the players are on this team, but that could end up hurting them down the line. Because like he's probably not going to pay the tax, for example, if it comes to that. But yeah, let's move on. Let's get off the NBA and do a little bit of NFL draft stuff.
I had something to say. What were we talking about right before the coach?
Getting more physical with Wemby,
Yeah.
Scoot,
No, I don't remember what it was.
just Wemby in general,
No, it's gone.
glazing Wemby.
Don't.
We're glazing Wemby.
There's
for
a
about
lot
10
of Wemby to
minutes.
glaze. I won't lie. He's
There
a pretty
is.
big guy.
There is.
You got 5 seconds. Let's see. Can you think of it?
I feel like it had to do with Wemby. Oh, I did have to do with Wemby. I was going to say how grateful we should be that he doesn't have Jokic's offensive mind. So, like, because like a lot of what makes Jokic
okay.
great is his passing. So imagine
Sure.
now Wemby's not a bad passer, but imagine he was also
Oh.
wheeling and dealing like Jokic can. So now you've got a 7'6" guy who blocks, who has like unlimited stamina. Like he does not quit on defense.
He's got time to grow in that era.
Correct, he
area.
does, but I'm grateful that he
Yeah.
doesn't. Which I mean, I guess Jokic didn't really until what, like he was like year 6.
He always flashed as like a passer. He had to figure out some of the other stuff. It actually is.
I'm just thinking like if Wemby had 5 assists. Imagine he had like 10.
Wemby, I don't think can ever be a great passer because this is the one thing where his length hurts him.
Yeah.
Like for him to throw a pass, like he wants to throw a skip pass, he has to like unfurl his arm as he throws it. So it actually takes so long for like the ball to get out of his hand, and a lot of
Yeah.
that is like quick Jimmy.
Maybe he needs to work on, like, hitting header
Yeah.
for a skip pass.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
just has it here and goes boom.
he always like juggles pregame and stuff. He clearly like
Yeah,
he's from France.
definitely
He
a
grew up in
soccer
a
guy.
soccer.
Also, his hands are so long. Doesn't he have enough of a lever arm there that he could just all in the wrist?
yeah, just
Like his from wrist to finger is probably as long as my entire forearm.
I don't know. We're getting into like lore status, and
Yeah.
like this is stuff of legend.
It just flicks the wrist and the ball just sails.
I got to think it's like for us, like holding a tennis ball and passing a tennis ball. Like, I think you're easier to throw a tennis ball like throwing it like a baseball
Yeah.
than you are.
I think it's more
Doing
like an
a
angle ball.
basketball
I think it's more
pass
like an
with a
angle
tennis
ball than
ball?
a tennis ball.
Okay, well in that case, then he has no excuse because
Yeah.
Sure.
I love passing an angle ball. That
Ang-
thing is so easy to pass.
There's never been an easier ball to manipulate and control than an angle ball.
It
It's
is.
just the perfect size.
It is.
Yeah.
Is it the best sports ball?
I would say so.
Yeah, I would say so.
But also
The worst
If
as well
I
because
had
we have
if I had
none in
Wimby
good
Young-
condition.
if I had Wimby hands, then I would think it was basketball.
Yeah, that'd be. Imagine if we had a 6'5", not a 6'5", a 6'10",
I wouldn't
6'11" guy playing angle
I don't think
ball.
I'd play.
Imagine,
game
now
breaks.
imagine that in the 9.5-foot pole era too.
No.
I miss the 9.5-foot
I
pole.
don't.
Era
I do too,
don't.
man.
to a
No,
degree because
no.
guys like Walker Timms and Jack just could dominate. Larry could dominate games, and it was actually kind of fun.
It made passing more important. Quick passes
Yeah.
around the circle.
too many blocks back then.
All right, let's get into the NFL draft stuff.
Mhm.
Which the biggest. We'll start with Dexter Lawrence. In that trade, which shocked me. One that he was traded, but I mean, I asked you because like I hadn't been tapped into the Dexter Lawrence trade rumors, but I was like, is that good value? Because it seemed really high, and you basically confirmed that
No,
the Bengals.
It
You don't
is-
think they overpaid?
Oh, I'm saying no.
yeah.
It was not good value.
Yes, correct.
It was awful value.
Yeah, I was gonna say you confirmed what I thought, and you are again confirming what I
Every
thought.
insider that I heard, which I heard from Ian Rappaport, he said probably should be like a day 2 pick.
I love how JP said I heard from.
He did. He heard from him.
I just said from all my sports watching throughout the week, I've heard conversation on Dexter Lawrence. Ian Rappaport said it should be like a day 2 pick.
So you can't say it was sports watching. You need to be like I just heard from, and it stays up in the air of like they might have texted you.
They could have
You might have
texted.
got on the
That's
phone
what it
call
sounded
with
like to me.
them.
That's why I thought it was
I
funny.
just say per my source.
Yeah, per my source.
Says, which I
No,
have multiple
I think heard
sources
from,
here.
heard from Ian Schefter sounds better
Yeah,
than per my source.
I heard from
Because then it sounds like Ian Schefter texted you.
Adam,
Ian
right?
Rappaport.
Ian Rappaport,
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
mean
Adam
Adam
Schefter,
Schefter.
Yeah.
excuse me. Adam
Yeah.
Schefter, Ian Rappaport. It sounds better if you say,
They're about to
I
be-
heard from Adam Schefter or I heard from Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, Adam Schefter told me.
They're about to be on the same team because NFL Network is joining ESPN.
Oh.
So they're about to be
Does one get fired? then?
collaborating. I don't know. I think it's something that we were all kind of hoping for in terms of like the Woj versus Shams
I miss it, man.
battle. But like if they were on the imagine if they were both on ESPN. Like imagine if Woj stayed when Shams joined. I also heard from Field Yates that it would be at most one of the final picks in the first round, and that would be for like one of the contending teams. Like, let's just say the
Houston Texans are like, yeah, we'll take a good defensive tackle.
Houston Texans want to get richer. The Bills want to fix their bad run defense last year. We'll get Sexy Dexy, and we'll give them a first-round pick. They wouldn't do that because they can't cap restriction, and they don't have a second-round pick because of the DJ Moore trade. No reason to. Too much blabbering. I know too much. All that said to say the 10th overall pick was way too much given up. Bengals, they could have given up. I don't know what pick they have because it's not necessarily 42 because they had the same record. I think it's either 43 or 44
Sure.
in the second round. Not 44. That's the Jets pick. I think it's 43. They could have given up 43 for Dexter Lawrence and maybe gotten away with it. And the Giants might have been that much value.
41.
41.
Even better.
Even better. Like I definitely feel like they could have given up 41, and if the Giants wanted more, maybe a 4th-round pick. That being said, that like they had no reason to give up the 10th overall pick, but in the context of it all, there is enough reason in it in that the 10th overall pick, whoever it was going to be, unless it was Caleb Downs, in my opinion, or David Bailey had fallen that far, was not going to be as valuable as Dexter Lawrence is going to be to the Bengals in just this season. And just this season matters.
Yeah.
For Zach Taylor and his job, for Joe Burrow, maybe his future in Cincinnati in general. He could very well request a trade. So adding a guy like Dexter Lawrence this year in exchange for the 10th overall pick, if they have a good season, it's a wash, and it does not matter. And he immediately fits a need. This was last year. They were the worst rushing defense in the NFL. They gave up 2,500 yards and a second worst yards per carry at 5.2. So Dexter Lawrence already immediately is a nose tackle in the center, which he needs to get in shape. I know nose tackles are fat, but he is fatter than fat right now. You can tell with his face, at least. Again, it's April. He's got time. He gets in shape, returns to his 2024 playing ways instead of his 2025, which maybe you could just say is the fatigue of playing for a bad New York team. It's just like, why would I want to play good anymore?
Yeah.
Then I think the trade will have been worth it.
That's a good point. It's really interesting to view it that way. Not that you're wrong, but it's so funny to hear a team be so win now when they've not really had any success in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
They've been like just okay, which I know obviously injuries and such have played into it. But even still, it's like, yeah, we haven't really done much winning. But this year, we're gonna win now, and we're gonna go.
They went to
all
the
in.
Super Bowl 3 years ago, and they have.
I
they have
think
a
it's 4 years ago at this
and
point.
they
Was
have
it actually? No.
Do they have a playoff win since then?
I don't.
Yeah, they were in the AFC Championship the year
yeah,
after.
that's right. I forgot that they almost tried to run it back. But
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it's 3 straight years of missing the playoffs.
well done, well done.
I'm
Bengals.
checking.
Super Bowl appearance was 2022. It was 2022. They were in the Super Bowl 4 years ago.
That's crazy. Yeah, 2022. Wow. Well, I like the trade. I love it. I like
For both?
for the Bengals. I think for both,
Okay.
honestly.
I don't think
I
there's any way to
definitely love it
not
for
like it
both.
for the Giants.
Yeah,
if
you
come-
weren't going to extend the guy and you got the 10th overall pick for him.
Yeah, if you
Great.
if I see any clip and they're like, this is a bad trade for the Giants, I'm gonna think you're just a hater. I don't know. Or just
I like it for the Bengals because it's if you simplify it, and I'm a simple person, so I'm going to simplify it. There, JP, you said it, there's no better player they're going to get at 10 than Dexter Lawrence, and
Yeah.
he's not going to be as young as the guy that would have gotten to 10 unless they took Akeem Mesidor, which they wouldn't have. But he's not going to be as young as the guy that
I
they
like
would have
that.
taken at 10.
True.
He's going to be more expensive than the guy would have taken at 10, but he's going to be an instant impact, and he's going to help them try and get back to the Super Bowl and this time win it because they think they have the weapons on offense. Well, they know they have the weapons on offense, and they just need the quarterback to stay healthy, so they got to figure out offensive line. But they have to fix the defense because the defense has been awful the past 2 years, truly awful. So I think it's a good move. It's It's very aggressive.
They've added a ton of the pieces to the defensive line this offseason too. Signing Boye Mafe from the Seahawks to the 3-year, $60 million. Brought in Jonathan Allen from the Commanders, and now Dexter Lawrence. Since that's 3 pieces, part of it is like you probably spent. In fact, you spent 2, give or 1.5 Travion Hendersons, and just let Travion Henderson walk. You got 3 players out of it instead, but also like maybe we could have just been more aggressive with Travion, or not Travion, Trey Hendrickson, not Travion, Trey Hendrickson, in the beginning instead of just letting negotiations go on for so long.
I don't hate it. You got younger.
I agree.
Dexter Lawrence is younger than Trey Hendrickson.
I think this defensive line is
Dexter
better.
Lawrence has been better than Trey Hendrickson. I mean, he
I
was
don't know, man.
fantastic.
Trey Henderson was very good in 2024.
Yes, but I think that Trey
I
Hendrickson.
do think an edge rusher brings more value.
I
but
also agree with that. But Dexter Lawrence provides, is one of the few guys that provides almost as much value as an edge rusher from the interior defensive line.
Yeah,
he had 10 sacks a year ago.
yeah, I mean, I do think it was pretty clear that the Trey Hendrickson ship had sailed.
Yeah.
I just think maybe they could have signed him and got trade value out of him at least.
That would have been preferred.
to some degree. Maybe not to the much as Max Crosby did, something like that. But I do think their defensive line is better now without him and with this group of guys than it was with Trey. And I agree, Dexter Lawrence, he is one of the few defensive interior tackles that you have to 2-man block. You can't leave him on an island with really anyone because he is bigger than pretty much every offensive guard and center in the NFL. And so now you're forced to...
Especially right now, apparently. He's a lot bigger.
He's a lot bigger. I don't know what he would weigh at this point, but it'd be something. You're now forced to double team and pass pro and really even on running the football. You're going to run a lot of duo. Excuse me, against a guy like Dexter Lawrence, and that it's a guy that forces you to game plan around him.
Sure.
Like a Myles Garrett, like a Micah Parsons. So it's just as impactful from the interior.
Does it matter if they can't defend down the field?
No, which is why I really wish they had traded 41 for him and then been able to get like
Mansour
Delane.
Yeah.
at 10.
Sure.
Or even Caleb Downs or Jermod McCoy at 10. Like,
Except maybe the insiders were wrong.
Maybe.
Maybe they were wrong about his value. Maybe they went Mel Kiper, Shitter Sanders mode. And they were just wrong.
They've been wrong before, but I in my own opinion, I kind of felt like it would have been a similar value myself.
Sure.
For Dexter Lawrence, who was a top of round day 2 pick, or like a straight up second rounder, or maybe at best into the first round. I did not think he was a top 10 overall pick worthy. If this was a year ago and he was just coming off that elite 10 double-digit sack season, maybe. But after the season he had last year, it just didn't make any sense to me at the value that it is. Now, with it, though, wholly intriguing, I think, for the first 16 picks. I think that was, for me, the next segue out of that is the first 16 picks, 25% of them are by the New York franchises. 2 by the Jets, 2 by the Giants. They have 3 of the top 10 picks at 2, 5, and 10. So what a week this is going to be for New York radio.
Yeah.
Now the Knicks lost the game too. Tomorrow's show might go for 12 hours. Whatever radio show there is in New York, you could talk for 12 hours on New York sports, New York Mets, with
Yeah.
how they're playing. Did they win today?
Let's see. I don't think they played today, but
Okay.
let's see. I do love it. Is so good that FanDuel was like, yeah, we'll have a win to the net. The Nets. The Mets win their next game. They did not play today,
Okay.
so we'll have to wait on that.
That's kind of funny. Mets, Jets, Nets. Wonder if that was on purpose. We'll never know. Anyway, but that is for the top 16, and so now they kind of control a lot of that.
Yep.
The first part of the draft, and especially the first 10 picks, which is going to be. I know a lot of people have talked about how this draft is bad or whatnot.
Yeah.
Not very star-driven. I think the first hour and a half of our show on Thursday is going to be so intriguing.
I can't
I
wait.
can't wait.
Because you cannot pinpoint, really, besides Fernando Mendoza, one player to one spot for sure.
Yeah.
At 2, it's a 50-50 between Arvo Reese and David Bailey. At 3, the door completely opens. I start to think, Rams could trade up to 3. Cardinals are going to trade back. They could draft whichever one of Arvo Reese and David Bailey isn't drafted. So those first 16 picks, 4 of them for the New York franchises. I guess I'll ask you guys, which of the 2 New York teams do you think wins those first 16 picks and comes out with the best impact?
Giants. Because the Jets suck at drafting.
I mean, that's definitely one way to look at it. I don't
Sure.
disagree, but I also do think it's easier to say Giants because we're going to see the more immediate impact of it next season. Of like, if they hit on these picks, the Giants could actually be pretty good next year. Where realistically, even if the Jets hit on the picks, they're still not going to be very good, and we're still kind of looking at them as like, they're a year away.
Yeah.
We're
Now-
still looking to the 2027 draft. So from that standpoint, I think we're going to see more impact next year from the Giants, and also that makes it way more intriguing because it's just like, how does this player help them potentially, compete for the division next year and be one of those, fourth to first teams or something like that.
Financial analogy. It's like when you have a huge debt, and so all your money goes just paying off the interest. You're not actually paying off the debt.
Yeah.
That's what the Jets are doing. So, like, they could have the better draft class, but because they are so bad, it's not going to move the needle. Whereas the Giants are, like, average right now, slightly below average probably. And so 2 good pieces moves the needle and puts them above average.
Yeah.
Now, if this was a blind test, if you said I could have 2 and 16 or 5 and 10, I'm picking 2 and 16. In this draft class, I'm taking 2 and 16.
Okay. I like that. Why?
I really want the first player that isn't quarterback. I
Sure.
want to pick the first player off the board.
What if you screw it up?
That's on me.
True.
But I don't want to. I don't want to be
It just
left
feels
with.
very screw upable there.
It does feel screw upable, but I don't want to be left with the 4th option. And there are a lot of good options, but I want to have that decision.
Sure.
And then at 16, I still like one of the pieces I could get. Whether, I mean, if like I said, if this was a blind ranking, there's some options. But like, if I'm the Jets, I think there's good options all around. Offensive line, which I know we said they've got their tackles. We like that where they are
Yeah.
there.
Mimbu.
But maybe guard is
Fashanu.
still there. Yeah. I like having the first player off the board.
That's fair. I do think this, in my eyes, like greatly increased the odds. Well, I mean, they have an extra pick, so kind of duh, but like same time, like they're a little independent statistically of the Giants taking a playmaker. Because like there was some
Yeah.
buzz for that
Yeah.
at 5, but like I personally have mocked them a lot to just still go defender there and shore up the defense. Just because for me, 5 feels a little rich for any of the wide receivers. And maybe they go Jeremiah Love, and maybe they do now because then you can take a defender at 10. But now it just feels very likely that one of those first 2 picks is a playmaker, an offensive playmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard from Todd McShay
Sure. Yeah.
that if the Cardinals don't take Jeremiah Love at 3, then the Titans will take him at 4. But if the Titans don't take him at 4, the Giants will take him at 5.
If the Giants will take him at 5, do the Browns take him at 6?
Wait,
He
who is
said
this?
none of those
Jeremiah
are a
Love?
possibility.
Okay.
Who did you say?
Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love.
He is gonna.
So I need to cancel my Jeremiah Love Commanders pre-order.
He would be
jersey?
surprised by
Okay.
that. Look, I still kind of hope he gets to 8 and then the Saints
Sure.
draft him. I would still be
I don't think
excited
he's
about
getting to
that, even with the Travis Etienne signing.
If he gets to 22, would you be happy with the Chargers taking him?
Yeah, I would take him at 22.
Just curious.
I know that like goes. That makes me a complete hypocrite after all my whole like running back doesn't fix run game. You need offensive line.
Theoretically, your offensive line is pretty good. That's your cope.
That is my copium. Is
'Cause,
that
I mean,
we
if
our 2 tackles are healthy. We brought in a couple guards. We signed a center. And so yes, my copium is that we fix the offensive line, and now we add the potentially best running back prospect since like Saquon or Adrian Peterson.
I hate to burst your bubble, I don't think he's getting to 22.
I don't think so either. But if he was there, I'd take him.
So it sounds like they're very much in the market for an offensive weapon.
Yeah, and they're going to have their options because I think the only way the top 3 receivers go off the board is if, well, there's a few ways, I guess, now that I think about it, but like the Titans would have to go 4, Browns do it at 6, and then the Commanders or Saints do it at 7 and 8, and then the 3 top receivers are gone. But if they see the Titans take one at 4, then maybe they're just inclined to take it at 5.
True.
Because that's one less team to take a defensive player like Sonny Styles or something. Or it would be 6, 7, 8 is Browns, Commanders, Saints. The first 3 receivers go off. And then maybe you convince yourself to take Kenyon Sadiq at 10 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I agree. I think they'll be inclined to take some kind of playmaker. A lot of people feel, from what I've heard from all of my sources, is that the Harbaugh is going to treat this like Jim treated his first draft. Jim a little different in that he only had 1 first-round pick, but he took Joe Alt, immediately took an offensive tackle, tried to establish that he thinks the Giants are just going to do the same.
Yeah.
In drafting a dependable defender and then drafting an offensive lineman to shore those 2 things up
Fair.
to start the franchise off on the right step. And I personally, I think that's the more likely than the playmaker. But playmaker would be really fun. I'm not a Jackson Dart fan, so I won't be happy to see it. But,
Sure.
But Tate, our Giants fan that we'll be calling on Thursday, will be very excited to see Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors, Jordan Tyson,
Yeah.
Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Love, Isaiah Likely. That is a really fun offense.
That's a fun offense to be a 9-year-old and be a fan of, or
Yeah.
however old he is.
He's 9 or 10, give or take.
That's a fun offense.
I need to confirm that.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fair. And you kind of just mentioned offensive line, so that's kind of a segue into my kind of one of my other final draft thoughts. And it's weird because offensive lineman just isn't the most exciting position, but I'm very interested to see how these offensive linemen come off the board in this draft and where they start going. Because, there's been a lot of mocks that have had Maui Noah to the Cardinals at 3, but hey, if they bite on Love, then, how far does he fall? He's almost definitely the first offensive tackle off the board and first offensive lineman, but after him, how do they come off the board after him and where do they go? Because we've seen some people, predict an offensive lineman slide, but that just typically doesn't happen in drafts because it's just such a valued position. So I'm so interested to see how this ends up playing out from an offensive lineman standpoint and who goes where. And I didn't think I'd be in that boat.
6 teams with 2 first-round picks in this upcoming draft. That is a really unbelievable thing. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, everyone had their first-round pick last year, and then we ended up seeing the trades of the Giants trading back in and the Falcons trading back in.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
So we haven't even seen draft night trades, and that was going to be my next storyline. Was I still think we're here to see some more draft night trades, especially if boards fall different ways. Like, for instance, let's say the Cardinals don't trade out of 3, and they take Francis Mauigoa. Is someone going to be inclined to try to trade up to 4 to get David Bailey or Arvo Reese that fell to 4, or to get up there and get Sonny Styles? I think that's intriguing. The Cowboys are already the first one that comes to mind with their picks at 12 and 20. It kind of fits in the value in terms of getting up there to 5 to 6 to even 4 to a degree. But then there's also teams that are really, really good teams that are wanting to win next year and aren't going to be afraid to be aggressive with their picks in next year's draft, which is supposed to be really good. in the Rams, them trading up to 3 for Jeremiah Love. The Eagles, would they trade up to the 12 to 14 range to get an offensive lineman ready to replace Lane Johnson?
Yeah.
Does Detroit trade up and get salvage their 2027 pick for an offensive lineman if we see like 3 offensive linemen fly off the board really quickly? I think there's still some draft night trades we're here to see. I haven't even mentioned the trade that we fully expect to see in a Ty Simpson trade, someone trading back in for Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
That I think I'm really excited to see where we get with there. And that's why, again, I think that first 90 minutes is so intriguing, because as the board falls into place, where do teams see we need to go and get this guy and be aggressive?
Yeah. I think that's fair.
My question, or were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, you can't beat a draft night trade. And
No.
we've had some draft trades, but draft night trade where a team's on the clock and all of a sudden a different logo pops up or it flashes on the screen, trade. Like, you just don't. And then it's like 2 minutes of chaos trying to figure everything out.
There were 3 of them last year. All 3 of them were awesome. The
Yeah.
Jaguars immediately trade up to 2 after Cam Ward is selected at 1, and now it's like, whoa, what is going on here? Are they taking Travis Hunter?
Yeah.
They took Travis Hunter. And then both, even especially for our show last year, the Giants trade and the Falcons trade were cinema. The Giants trade, for me, was pandemonium.
Yeah.
Ecstatic, unbelievable excitement in that I knew Jackson Dart wasn't going to be the Saints quarterback going forward, and I was so excited for it, and so I'm jumping up and down and screaming. The Falcons trading back in was like, whoa, what are they doing? But also, we get to call Thomas again.
Yeah, it was elite
and
to
that
call
was
Thomas again.
so fun to call Thomas, as he is now. He was 4 or 5 more beers deep at that point in the night compared to how he was at the beginning of the night. So
Sure.
the draft night trades are going to be electric, we expect, this year, whichever ones there are, because they're just so fun.
Yeah, I did see someone say that like they wish that the Dexter Lawrence trade had happened on draft
I
night.
agree.
That would be
And
sick.
so I was like, well, what if we just came with a proposal where the NFL just announces a trade has happened and they don't say who was traded or what pick was traded? And then on draft night, it's like, oh, you remember that trade from Monday or whatever, Sunday afternoon? Yeah,
Here's
it was
what it
Dexter
was.
Lawrence for 10
Yeah.
overall. Now the Bengals or now the Giants are on the clock. Just to kind of keep that surprise going.
That'd be great for content purposes too.
Yeah.
Because everyone can like try and guess what the trade was
Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah, you can ask your question.
Oh
now.
yeah, the thing so you were talking about. Actually, I don't know if you're talking about it. I'm gonna bring it up. AJ Brown, which I heard from ESPN.
Yeah.
That they said that Adam Schefter heard that AJ Brown is likely to become a Patriot post June 1st.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's the timeline they choose.
That is because at June 1st, you avoid having to trade another year of signing bonus.
Mm.
So you avoid having to pay another year of signing bonus. You can split the contract up easier, is the easiest way to explain it. The Eagles will save $10 to $12 million in salary cap next offseason by waiting post June
Gotcha.
1st.
Okay.
So
That
this
was
is an Eagles enforced timeline or an Eagles preferred
Correct.
timeline.
And one thing to note that is different, because this is a trade, you can't, and it will occur post June 1st. You can't agree. I guess you could, but in the NFL terms, legally you can't agree to a trade. And let's just say the Patriots wanted to trade 31 for AJ Brown.
yeah.
And that was just agreed upon, but we're going to do it post June 1st. Patriots pick the player that we want
I literally had that exact same thought.
and then trade him to us on June 1st. That pretty much can't happen in the letter of law. So that is one thing that is different. Also, it's another thing that's different in that,
How can they enforce that though? It's just coincidence.
I don't know.
I mean,
There'd be
what a
some
coincidence that we picked the player the Eagles wanted. Like,
there would be
who's-
some
there'd be some-
investigation.
some
on that.
t- yeah.
It'd be funny though, and I would propose that if I'm an
It's
It's
NFL
like
owner.
they pick a player that like makes zero sense for them. Like, I don't know,
They pick a receiver.
a receiver.
Yeah, that would be interesting. They pick.
Oh, I guess-
Let's say the Eagles needed a quarterback, and they picked a quarterback.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
31 with Drake May there. It's like, what do we?
Yeah.
Ty Simpson. goes to the Patriots.
That'd be a crazy way for Ty Simpson to end up being a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
It's because the Patriots draft him to trade him.
The other thing that's different is it's not a release. So a release you can actually agree upon. So if the Eagles wanted to release A.J. Brown but didn't want to do it until post-June 1st to save the money, they could release him right now and he could go talk to other teams, but he couldn't sign a contract with a new team until post-June 1st.
Yeah.
Those are two things that are different.
Gotcha.
I love that for the Patriots. That's where I've wanted
Yeah.
A.J. Brown.
AJ Brown to end up this whole time.
I think-
Talking about that first overall pick or not first, the first round pick from the Patriots.
Think about the upgrades to their wide receiving room. You go from Stephon Diggs and Pop Douglas and Kyle Hamilton,
Yeah. Kyle Williams.
to Romeo Doubs, A.J. Brown, and again, you could still have Pop Douglas thrown in that group. It's already like immediately raised from a playmaker standpoint.
Meanwhile, I feel now poverty because I see that Keishon Butte may be traded, and I'm like, honestly, the Commanders could use the help.
It's
The
bad.
the
if
Saints
you're-
could use Keishon
It's
Butte.
bad if you're over
Okay,
there thinking,
Keishon-
Keishon Butte, he might move the needle.
He would not necessarily move the needle. I'd rather throw him the deep ball than throw, Luke McCaffrey the deep ball. Let me just say that. A couple other just final question notes I have. It got announced today that, or at least I saw it for the first time today. I could be way late to this because it was they found out a couple months ago that Nussmeier had a cyst on his spine.
Yeah.
That was putting pressure on a nerve and causing his torso discomfort they dealt with all throughout last season. And he's gonna have a procedure to have that removed, and it's 2 to 3 weeks. It's minimally invasive, and he should be good to go.
I thought the wording was, and I may be getting this confused because I'll mention it here in a second to another player that had a similar thing. I thought the wording was he's asymptomatic at the moment, and if it flares up, they'll do it, and he'll only miss 2 to 3 weeks.
That's probably what it was. I probably just missed that middle point. So
Okay.
you're probably right. But yeah, because he did mention he's asymptomatic because he was able to throw fine at the combine and the Senior Bowl and stuff
Yeah.
without feeling any symptoms. So my couple of questions are: I wonder if that does anything for his draft stock. Probably not, though. I still expect him to go higher than some people predict. But I'm also how hard is that? How hard of a thing is that to catch? Because the way it's worded, it's LSU therefore didn't find that and didn't know what was up, and so he's just playing with pretty bad discomfort, and no one knows why, and they just let him roll, which seems like somewhat of an indictment on the LSU medical staff. But I'm not in that world.
I'm just
so
guessing
don't
here
know.
that they just don't have the facilities to possibly find something like that.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know.
That's just me guessing there. An NFL franchise does have the facilities.
Let's do a little Google of how do you find assist? What scan finds assist? And that also one of my other thoughts, which we've talked about this multiple times.
Before you get to that, Francis Mauigoa has a similar thing. He has a herniated disc in his back, not a cyst. It's not a significant issue right now. It is also asymptomatic, and this came out today. I heard this from Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter, not Scheffner. Schefter. Don't want to get him wrong because he's a close friend. The teams that Adam heard from says if it worsens at all, Mauigoa would then need surgery that could sideline him for roughly 3 months. Worst case scenario, it flares up during preseason training camp, and Mauigoa may miss his entire rookie season.
Not great, especially for a guy that isn't quite viewed as an elite prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Elite prospects, you probably get away with that just fine because it's okay. If he misses a bit of a season or gets off to a slow start, for a guy that already has a couple question marks, that could hurt. Assist is found with an MRI,
Okay.
so
That's what I thought.
definitely not something they would have on hand. They being LSU, but they could pretty easily get him sent off. For
Maybe
that.
they just never MRI'd his, I don't know, because if you MRI'd his chest where he's in oblique, where he's hearing the pain, I would assume, we need our resident doctor, Andrew McBride, here.
We really do.
I would assume you would find the cyst in his back, but I just may be completely wrong.
I'm texting my pre-med.
About to say
or future med
she's
student
she's a
wife.
future med student.
True.
She's gonna be our resident doctor of the show for many years to come. That's actually what she's going to practice technical foul medicine. She's
Yeah.
she's going to graduate med school, and that's going to be her full-time job.
Um,
She's just going to scroll sports Twitter and identify injuries for us.
I think
would
that
love
market's
that.
already cornered, but you never know.
By who?
What's the guy's name?
Dr. Brian Suterer.
Yeah.
There's also the fantasy football guy. He does it while he's holding his 1-year-old child the whole time.
It's
It's
crazy.
That's
and
funny.
the child's
That's pretty-
crying, but he's talking about fantasy football injuries to look out for the week.
That's funny.
That's cool.
He's really good at it too.
That
But
leads
those two injury things are something to look at.
Yeah,
Go
100%.
ahead.
And that leads me to which we already talked about. I just want one last confirmation so that's on the record. Who do y'all think is going to be? Well, I guess you can contradict me on me assuming it's going to be Mendoza first QB off the board, Ty Simpson second QB off the board. Who do we think is going to be the third QB off the board? Because obviously we won't get to that on the draft show. No one really sees three QBs going round one. Some people think two QBs won't even go.
We had Taylor Green for a while.
We did.
But yeah,
I felt really good after that draft when all the highlights were on Twitter. I felt good about that. He's now more of like a sleeper day 2 pick
sure. Who do we
for
think?
the New Orleans Saints.
Who do we think
love
is going to be QB3 off the board? I'm rolling with Garrett Nussmeier still. That's kind of my boy. I really think the injury hurt him. The cyst apparently on his spine really held him back from having a good season.
I'm gonna stick to Drew Aller. I think Drew Aller was my answer about a month and a half ago. I'm gonna keep that answer. Stick to my guns.
We're all different here. Then I think it's Carson Beck. Logically, I think it's going to be Carson Beck as the third quarterback. I wouldn't pick him as the third quarterback, but I do think he will be the third one. Especially in a world where the Cardinals, we're kind of saying they are going to trade up and draft Ty Simpson, and what if they don't, and someone else does? I heard from Adam Schefter today that Schefter, gotta stop saying Schefter. He's going to get pissed about that.
Yeah.
Schefter
You'll hear about it in your
Yeah.
next
said
phone
today
call.
that had the Rams not traded the 29th overall pick for Trent McDuffie, that they were heavily considering drafting Ty Simpson there at 29.
I did see that.
So
yeah.
what if they trade up and to the first round and take him? Then I think Carson Beck is the second best suitor for the Arizona Cardinals, and so it kind of makes sense for him to be the pick for them. In my opinion, he's played a really, really good game in that stadium, beating the Ole Miss Rebels with the Miami Hurricanes. So he's got some
True.
experience playing out there in Arizona and Phoenix. So Carson Beck's my pick.
I can't believe it's in 3 days.
I now have my last question to y'all.
I've
Do
got
it.
one more question too.
Okay, I'll go first, then you can go.
Okay.
We've now seen some buzz that the Cardinals are considering Love at 3, and if not, or if they do want to take him, they may even look to trade back to try and take him. Do we think that's real interest for them, or they're trying to generate buzz so that someone will trade up and they can trade back?
Buzz, I think it's the same thing as what the Jets. Phone dead. What the Jets have done with Ty Simpson, and that saying that they kind of like. What a shot! What a series! This is always just a great series. I think it's the same thing that the Jets has kind of done with Ty Simpson, trying to blow up his value a little bit, force the Cardinals to feel like they have to trade into the first round. Because also, I know this is not answering your question a little bit, but if, let's say Ty Simpson doesn't go in the first round, the Jets are picking at 32. They have the entire 20 hours to field trades from teams for 32.
Yeah,
They may want Ty Simpson.
true.
They don't have to draft Ty Simpson at 32. So there could be some big-time value in that. So it kind of puts a lot of pressure on Arizona to trade up ahead of the Jets at 32. Now I'm struggling to remember your original question.
Well, it's just, do we think there's legit legs
Okay.
to the rumors that Arizona
Jeremiah
wants Love at 3, or are they just trying to generate interest to get a team
Smoke
to
and mirrors.
potentially trade up? Which I think my thing there, I guess I'm answering my own question, is I kind of want to say it's smoke and mirrors, but at the same time, who are you going to convince to trade up to 3 to get Jeremiah Love?
The Los
Chiefs.
Angeles Rams.
Not the Rams?
We did in the fun draft.
Yeah, but
That was fun.
you're
It
getting
was.
what? They don't have a first round pick this. Yes, they do. Yes,
They
I'm
have-
sorry.
they have 13.
They had the one at 13
So just
from
trade
the
back
Falcons.
10 and then trade
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
2027.
I was only thinking about their pick that they traded to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are also an option. I think that's the if they want that, the once in a lifetime weapon that you don't get when you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback because you're always drafting in the
Even
late
after
20s.
signing Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, maybe not.
It's still though I think it's okay. That's why I'm not away from the Saints selecting Jeremiah Love after signing Travis Etienne.
Etienne.
True. Travis Etienne. However you say his name.
It's said Etienne, I believe. I think it's
Okay.
like a ch, if I'm
Etienne.
not mistaken. Which if you can also I think that's right, but I could be wrong. Who knows?
I maybe I'm gonna say it's smoke and mirrors because I do
Yeah.
think they really want to trade out of 3, and whether that is trading back a lot, like 8 or 9 spots, and getting a first-round pick next season, whether it's Dallas trades 12, 20, and then a second round next year. I think they're all there for it. They want, or they can get an offensive lineman anywhere within 10 spots of where they're picking from, and so getting more draft capital for a roster that is still not that talented in any way possible. I think this just is another element. I'll
Sure.
say.
I have some cyst knowledge now.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Not for my wife. Andrew McBride actually came through.
Huge.
Oh, huge. Is he listening?
No,
text
he
him?
just you put the Delquan thing in the chat. He
Ah.
responded, so I was like, oh, since he just responded, I'm gonna fire it in and
Yeah.
see if I can catch him while he's on his phone. He just says it in terms of is this like LSU's medical staff not doing their job well or just like unlucky. He says it really depends on how Nussmeier was like presenting the symptoms and presenting his pain, because if he was just really like it's my oblique, to his knowledge, if they were scanning the oblique area, it wouldn't necessarily pick up the cyst where the cyst was located. So it could be unfortunate. Now, if he was, not necessarily calling it an oblique injury or being like the pain's elsewhere, maybe it is on them. But it's just kind of a weird thing of, how do you really know? Maybe they could have done a little more due diligence, but it wasn't like malpractice for sure or anything like that. Just kind of tough circumstances.
At this point, we're already calling him twice on Thursday for 12 and 20.
Yeah.
But maybe we need to call him for any injury talks we have throughout the show as well.
Our resident Miami fan is also now
I actually
in the chat.
apologize. That was LIU fins up. This
Yeah.
is Miami fins up.
Because with Maui Noah and his back thing, Jordan Tyson, his injury history.
Yeah.
Maybe the extra insight would be that is good to know. The fact that finding that cyst is hard to find when you're just looking at the oblique.
He did way better than Lucy did. Lucy said, "I have no clue what scan does what."
Oh, that's good.
So,
That's your future doctors of America, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, that's what you want to hear.
Well, I have, I guess, the final question, unless we think of another question, which there's so many questions.
Yeah.
And these are just all top of mind questions
Sure.
for me.
I have a question, but I can't. There's no way to answer it that I can think of.
Okay.
But I can pose it.
Let's go with me, then we'll
Yeah,
go to
you do.
you. With the top 3 receivers,
Sure.
Tyson, Tate, and Lemon.
Lemon, yeah, which all cool names. I can't
Sure.
lie.
That's a law firm. Tyson, Tate, and Lemon.
It really is.
I guess go ahead and make the prediction right now. We may not know for 2 years, so we'll come back to this in 2 years, obviously, like we do. Do you think it is... I guess I'll ask this 2 different questions. Do you think this is a draft that drafting the top receiver in the first 12, 16 picks, whatever it is, holds more value than drafting a receiver on day 2? Or my other question would have been another way of wording that. If you were these franchises, would you draft the receiver on day 1 or wait on day 2, day 3?
I'm going day 2.
Would you rather have one of these top 3 guys or one of the other pieces?
I think I'd rather go day 2. I don't really like. I think each of these guys has bigger question marks than the guys we've had in previous years.
And we can honestly answer that from our team perspective.
Yeah.
Well,
Tate has never been a wide receiver 1. Tyson has injury problems, and Lemon is odd. Not actually. Lemon is probably the most accurate to his draft projection, I would say. Like I would be most comfortable taking Lemon in the place that he's projected than I am taking Tyson or Tate in the area they are projected.
I think I'd rather take the swing on Tyson or Tate because I just expect there to be a good number of wide receivers taken at the tail end of round 1, and so therefore your round 2 options aren't actually all that fantastic.
Yeah. I would rather have Lemon in the mid-teens than Tyson or Tate in the top 10.
Well, seeing as I'm a Lemon guy, I also would love that.
Okay, that's
So-
fair. So maybe I'm lower on Lemon than I should be, but given that he's wide receiver 3, I feel like mid-teens is where where he could end up.
As a Saints fan, I think I'd be fine, and I would convince myself and be excited with one of those top 3 receivers at 8. But I do think I'd rather wait till day 2 and just get a defender with that top 8 selection. So I guess my last question on that is, if you had to predict, do you think that Jimmy Fallon was there?
Yeah.
How about that? If you had to predict, do you think the teams that drafted the top 3 receivers will get a bigger payoff than the teams that decided not to?
I think the teams that waited.
I think
I
you guys
especially-
probably gonna have the same answer you just had.
Yeah, I do.
Like, let me see if I can go back and find it. I was watching.
There's,
Like if the Giants don't take one of them at 5 or 10, are they gonna regret that?
I just think we've seen, and they get paid like it, how much a star wide receiver can change
Yeah.
things for teams. Like it just makes all the difference. And I mean, it's just tough because like this is a different year, and obviously prospects are different. These are kind of less of sure things, but your hit rate on top wide receivers is actually pretty good. Obviously, like Marvin Harrison wasn't great, but even like Tet last year, people had some questions about Tet. I had some questions about
Sure.
Tet. He looked really good his rookie season and really lived up to the hype. Guys like Malik Neighbors, he can't stay necessarily crazy healthy, but he's been really productive. The Jamar Chases, like, it really pans out.
I am going to say that this draft looks more like 2020 than some of the Roma Dunze, Marvin Harrison Jr. class. I'm going to say that we're going to have a lot of misses. Because like you think about 2020, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy both went before CeeDee Lamb, and then Jalen Reagor went before Justin Jefferson. Like, I think that it's going to be more of a sprinkling of a couple good, like a good player or two,
Sure.
than how I still think we feel about like Roma Dunze being good. And it's also it's so young, so maybe that's not fair. Maybe it's just those guys are still younger, but I feel like we were out on a couple of those 2020 guys pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Reagor never was really a guy anyone was like, oh my gosh, he's popping. I do think it's fair to say this draft will have a couple misses. It's not going to be like an all hits type draft.
And maybe I'm not being fair. What year was that? Was
Well,
that
Henry Ruggs is also tough because like that's extenuating.
But like
circumstances.
2024, we went Marvin Harrison Jr., who, like I said, I'm kind of giving this class the benefit of the doubt. So like in 5
I think
years,
he's massively been a massive disappointment.
he's had a 700-yard season, and then what was this last year?
But think about how he was talked about pre-draft.
I think the expectation, he has not lived up to
and where
expectations.
He was drafted.
Not lived up to expectations, but
He definitely has not lived up to the fantasy expectations.
not at all. You
of
go
my friends
Marvin
who've had
Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, and then Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, and then Ricky Pearsall. Like, I think each of those guys has been intriguing at times, and so I don't know. Now in 2 years we could find out that 3 of them, instead of continuing to trend up, trend down, and then it's kind of the same as that 2020 draft. We'll see. But I feel less confident about this draft class than other draft classes previously.
I'm going to make the case when we do our Cardinals preview in July or August, whenever that is, that Marvin Harrison's failures were Kyler Murray dependent. And I'll have stats to back that up.
Interesting.
Not that I believe that, but that I will make that case
Okay.
for
I can't wait
Cardinals
to hear that
fans.
case and then make the case that down the stretch, if Michael Wilson can ball out like that, it's a pretty damning sign that he's doing that over your
Also true.
top 10 picked wide receiver.
Top 5, top
4.
5.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Michael Wilson, dog, but still not great. You want to ask your unanswerable question?
Yeah, like who do y'all think will be this year's CeeDee Lamb? Okay, so like, and I would know I was just talking about him with the wide receiver thing, but he's like, I remember that draft class so vividly because it just felt like when the Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb, they had gotten wide receiver 1 in that draft, and they got him in like at 17 or 18 or something somewhere later in the tens, the late teens. And so, who do y'all think will be that this year? And the one that kind of comes to mind from that's why it's just so hard to answer because it's like you have to predict someone to fall, but then you also have to predict that they're good. Do you have an answer, JP? You think it's going to be?
I was going to say KC,
I think KC's got that,
but
kinda
it doesn't quite
boom.
fit because he's not going to fall. Well,
He's not
I
gonna
guess if he fell to the second round, it's obviously like not the same as CeeDee Lamb, but there is a fall and then maybe a subsequent rise. But I think he's a wide receiver that could really pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's got the best chance to boom, at least, and have way overplayed where his draft spot position ends up being. Like, it plays into the value of a top 15 pick receiver, and he wasn't picked in the top 15. Which, I'll say it on air. Draft Casey Concepcion
I appreciate it.
with the, I forget which pick we have. I think we have 42, the Saints do.
Good luck.
But of the top 3, the best.
Not just any position.
any
not
position.
didn't have to
Any
be wide
position.
receiver.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
meant like CeeDee Lamb is like my go-to example of a big slide.
Jamal McCoy.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I don't think
sure.
he's probably going to fall that far. But once again, we're just like trying to make a read, and it's like, okay, he didn't play last year. Yeah, he did just finally get some drills in, and the drills went great. I think he's cornerback 1. I get why most people don't have him that because Mansour Delane played last year and was phenomenal. It's like Mansour Delane, goes at maybe the Dolphins take Delane at 11. They're at 11, right?
Yeah.
And then like the next couple teams don't need a cornerback or whatever, and McCoy falls to the back half of the teams, gets drafted, becomes a lockdown corner, and everyone's kind of like, yeah, that seems like a bit of a whiff from a couple teams in front. So that's my pick.
I really, really thought it was going to be Ruben Bain. I thought we were with his arm length.
That's
we were gonna
exactly
get to a
that's
point
where I kind of end up.
that he was not going to be in the top 10.
But that's the thing. That's the like right now he's predicted to go in the top 10, so we're predicting that he doesn't. Right? Because CeeDee Lamb was predicted to be like a really good go as one of the first wide receivers. He ends up going as the third.
Well, I'll say that Ruben Bain is the next CeeDee Lamb and is drafted by the Dallas Cowboys at 12
Yeah.
and makes the instant impact.
Yeah.
He won't have the double-digit sack season because he statistically can't based on historical data, but I think he could have that kind of impact.
Yeah. Ruben Bain was also my answer. I think he's going to be the guy who he's been the entire season as like the best edge rusher in the country, or he started the season that way and then kind of played like one of the best for the rest of the season. And then the whole arm thing started, and so he slid down people's boards, and then I feel like he's risen back up. And when I say slid, it was from like 1 to like 8 to like 12, and now he's back up to like 8, 6, somewhere in there. I'm going to predict that he goes like 13, 14, like early to mid-teens,
Sure.
which is a slide, and he should have gone higher, and he's going to end up being really good.
I hope he does slide that far. Because I think the only player I'll be mad if the Commanders take at 7 within reason is if they take Ruben Bain.
Sure.
Why are you mad about that?
That's a reach.
I'm sizist. I don't want short arms.
That's
Not
funny.
that high. There's just going to be better defensive players on the board, or
Yeah.
I think safer defensive prospects on the board, or you just go
What
for
if the
some stupid
first 6
reason, get an
players taken our
offensive.
defense?
Then we draft Fernando Mendoza and dangle him out as a trade chip.
That's a bad idea. That doesn't. Y'all need pieces now. You don't need picks.
What if I say, yo, give me,
Max Crosby.
yeah, or something like that.
You trade Fernando. The Raiders passed on Fernando Mendoza to draft Caleb Downs, and so then you trade him to the Raiders for Max
and they
Crosby.
give us Caleb Downs and Max Crosby.
Ooh, good idea. That's a
I
good
love
plan.
that. I love that. A completely implausible scenario.
Yep.
I think that's it. I think we're ready to bounce.
I have an NBA question real quick.
Sure.
Just a quick one.
Go for it.
So I predicted that the Nuggets would sweep the Timberwolves.
Yep.
And y'all said, I will accept that I'm wrong if the Nuggets win a game, but I would like to be like 25 to 50% right if when they win that game, Edwards does end up scoring 40, because the reason I said they can't win unless he scores 40.
You don't get the sweep part right, but you are right. You do get credit
My
for
prediction-
that second part of your
My
your-
prediction was that the Timberwolves need Edwards to score 35-40 because they don't have the pieces that could step up around him. And because of his injury, I said he won't do that. Right now, he's on pace. He had 20 in the first half, and it's a close game.
Which is crazy because his knee looks horrible.
Right.
His knee keeps giving out on him, which is really sad to see. But
Yeah.
that is a horrible pass.
So I would just like to caveat that I was wrong about the sweep, but I was right about the Timberwolves.
I'll allow it.
Appreciate it.
Let's get out of here, why don't we?
Let's do it.
For everyone that makes it this far, once again, PSA, in NFL Draft Live show this Thursday.
5 o'clock?
One of the few times in recent
Let me check.
weeks that we've had definitive, like, this is what we're doing on the next show. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
6 o'clock.
We will go live at 6 o'clock.
Live at 6 o'clock.
It'll be a blast. So, yeah, we'll be live an hour before the live show, or before the NFL Draft officially starts. And we will boogie from there. I was once again reminded today that the time between picks was shortened to 8 minutes. So we're ready to fly. Can't wait. It was a ton of fun last year. Fun to hang out with the people in the chat, react to, bad Saints pick or good Saints pick, a year later. React to trades like we talked about earlier. It's going to be a blast. Pull up, hang out, and we hope to see you there. But with that being said, thanks for watching this episode. Peace.
See ya.